These will be the world champions, and these are the championships of the world. Welcome, Sean. That is with me tonight, as well as Emma the 90th. I am the biggest of all dogs, and these are the PCM UK 24 World Championships. Welcome, guys.
It's lovely to be here.
All right, so today on the menu we have Tour Team Final, and participants are confirmed to be P Luxers, PCM UK, Village du Mart, and Farmer Team. Sean, are you hyped?
This is going to be, I think, one of the most exciting finals of the World Cup as a whole, maybe minus inline, but I think this will be a really tight battle.
Who would you point out as the favorite for the final?
I think Laxers are going to be going into most of the road finals as the favorites here. I'm not sure going in as the favorite is the best for their chances to actually win, but I think with a likely Basso on Team A, that's who we'll be looking at for um, the biggest chance of victory.
I have to agree with you. With a player like Basso in any team, and especially with the team that Luxors have this year, they are definitely the favorites in theory. UK also a very strong team, but then again, so is Village and Farmer team. Maybe more of an outsider in theory, but I think all four teams have a good chance at the goal here, and this makes the final really, really hard to predict and really tasty to watch. Hopefully.
Yeah, and I think with the farmer team, we'll have to see who they line up and in what order. But Miko or Toinu could make it a very attacking race, depending on what team they have. So I think it'll be very interesting to see who they go for and in what order today.
All right, before we go into okay, we are going into parkours. And a quick reminder as we look at them, the PCM UK 24 World Championships are sponsored by Cyanide and Narcon, hosted by the mighty PCM UK, and presented by the IMA, the International Multiplayer Association. Get your copy of PCM 24 June 6th, as well as Tour de France 2024 on a digital platform nearby, specifically or most prominently Steam. We are now watching the parkour slide. Sean, what's your thoughts? What's your take on these stages that we will have as our final for Team Tour?
I'm really excited to see a full mountain stage here on stage two. I think we could have one or two riders per team available after that first HC category climb, especially after the first category. I think it's going to be a real battle with some huge gaps after stage two, which I think will make it a really exciting race heading into three and four. None of the stages are particularly long, um, which I think is also really good for seeing some attacking racing.
All right, I do agree. There's some potential here for some good racing. A quick reminder for a quick reminder, yes, for all those of you watching. It seems that I'm drunk today. That the lobby is about to be launched. We're waiting for the picture from him as well, so stick around. You can see the parkours on your screen. We have Salon de Provence Saint-Tropez as stage one. It is a flat stage, but there's some interesting KOMs and an intermediate sprint there, where the battle for the intermediate jerseys starts. Then Sondrio uh, Edrolo, Montecolmo, where we have the first special cats of the night, then two first cats. There's also an intermediate sprint right before that cat, and then we go to Saint Paul Trois Châteaux Salon de Provence, 195.1 kilometer stage. Again, there is a flight ending, but it is a very hilly stage, and there's a first cat somewhere there in the middle as the second climb of the day. Before that, an intermediate sprint, then some more points for the KOM Bro jersey, as Daniel Miko would say. And then we end at Ripa Monte del Giogo. It's 172.6 kilometer mountain stage, several climbings, and here, uh, when obviously we will already have a picture of the GC by this point, is where people will have the chance to play all or nothing. Class stage, Sean, will indeed be very good for the all or nothing type of plays. Would you agree?
I think so. I think there will be probably one or two teams who look like they'll be out of it heading into that final stage. And I think they're going to really give it a fight. They have to for the team overall as well as for the medals here. And I think somebody will go on those early climbs.
And unless someone decides to do an EMEA and lose the GC on one of the more flat stages, should we expect it to become almost decided before that stage 4, of course, and the stage of Monte Colmo, the second one, 207.4 kilometer banger stage?
It's stage two, I think really is going to be
Yes,
um, a huge battle if I'm understanding what you're saying there
yes.
correctly.
Yes, I was asking if you think the most decisive stage for the G will be the second one, the one in Monte Colmo.
I do. I think it has to be the stage two. Basso in particular will not want to leave the GC up to stage four. I think he plays better when he's in front in the GC, and so I think he is going to guarantee that it's kind of a 1v1v1 battle there on stage two for the GC. I don't expect any sort of GC breakaway to occur with the 78s or anything like that. This will be a GC for the 82 mountain riders.
All right, and if you just joined us and you are wondering what is going on, PCM UK has indeed returned from the dead, as team players seem to not be present at the time the lobby is being made, and USSR had already been a reserve, so the IMA via its president reminded us all that the next reserve online would be PCM UK. The guys from PCM UK come into this stage. Yes, the IMA vice president is an incompetent, says AMA at the 90th. That just reminded me of that. I never liked him. He's AMA at the 89th, so of course no one likes him either. And Sean, for the boys in PCM UK that weren't even expecting to play at this point, probably no recons done, what would you classify their odds as being?
I mean, I think there's a reason that people were trying to make sure they weren't there in the finals. So I think their odds are still all right. But Joe not playing with the A team, I think puts them at a disadvantage. We'll see Swags in there. I think they're probably the second. I'd say they're the bronze, most likely here for the PCM UK group. I think it's probably Laxers, Village, UK, and then Farmer if we're doing odds from the start.
All right, it will be a heroic effort from the boys in UK as they will have to go against the actual odds, given that they also didn't know that they were playing. There will be also a very, very strong competition, as Sean mentioned, in the Boxers that have one of the most recognizable players and considered by many the best of his generation in Basel. Village also with a team of very strong veteran, very great players and farmers. Guys like Daniel Nico Tanu, we all know them from the regular season. They are all very competent, very good players. They can be the outside force of this final. They might try to screw the mat for some of these more favorite teams like Village or Luxers. So we have all the ingredients to be one heck of a final.
100%. And for those waiting until we get started, wanted to go through the full lineups for each of the teams. For the P-Laxers, as we said, Basso is taking the A team. Ghosty will be on B, a fantastic player there in case things go that direction. With Ivar playing the C team for them. For Farmers, it is Daniel Miko playing the 82 Mountain Rider, with Barna being the B. Barna will probably be one of the last 78 Mountain Riders still available to help, as is his style, with Toinu, the C team, attacking rider with the puncher. And then for Village, it is Leo, as we said, on A, T2 on B, and Snake also ready to attack with the C team. And finally for UK, Swagson on A, Ibra on the B, and Joe Whiteley on C.
So when it comes to GC leaders, after this amazing lineup given by Sean, or list of lineups, when it comes to the leaders, we will have pretty much a battle between Swagson, Leo Falandri, Basso, and if I recall correctly, Daniel Miko, right?
That is correct.
So this means four great players, four players that have the ability to be world championship finalists to fight for those gold medals. this indeed promises to be one heck of a tour.
Indeed, here. I think there is also an interesting battle not only for the GC, but for the intermediate sprints and the green jersey in this tour. I think there will be a lot of teams looking at the parkour thinking, can we get the 77 sprinter to the intermediates? Can we get the 82 to the finish line? So it'll be curious how people prioritize their green jersey points um, when possible.
Well, that is a very important question, and we are actually underway already. Another important question is to make sure that are we even going to have the 82s fighting for this GC? Because we've seen in the past in some tours where breaks gain such an enormous advantage, where playing for other teams can also be possible. Should we expect this here, looking at the parcours?
Sorry, can you give that question to me one more time there?
I was saying that we have some tours before where breaks are given so much time that the 82s might not end up fighting for the GC, the 82 Mountains. Should we expect this, looking at this parcours, to see other sub teams given so much time that they might get that yellow jersey?
I think that would be a terrible call from any of the teams that go that route. The mountains on stage two look too difficult to give it up, and I can't imagine that any of the teams are going to want to put um, the GC battle up for grabs on the 78 mountain. I'm guessing UK in particular be wanting to do that. Um, Laxers may be the team most willing to give it up to the bees, but I'm not sure they're going to have Ghosty do those sorts of attacks. Although Basso will be able to handle it on his own, I would have to believe.
All right, and we are underway, and the intermediate sprint is less than 15 kilometers away. No break established yet. Swaxon seems to be the leader further behind, and the actual player further behind. There's some pushing and shoving in the actual peloton, but no one has decided to go for a break yet. Should we even expect one before this intermediate sprint, Sean?
I can't. I think someone will try some sort of attack here because there is a downhill to that intermediate sprint, but I think it won't get away no matter who makes the attack. But we do see the pace starting to go there with the farmer team on the left trying to do what I thought they might.
And here it is, the attack that Sean anticipated and well, but again, as we expected, big gaps not there yet. However, teams might let this go depending on who they have up the front. Right now, it's not happening though because I don't think everyone is represented as they would like. And so, as we anticipated as well, no big breakaway of any kind, big or small, no breakaway of any kind. And the intermediate sprint is 6 kilometers away as we speak.
And
We go.
the gradients here
Yes,
look
Sean.
pretty substantial. So I'm expecting a sprint from probably the 1.8 or 2 kilometer mark. No late attacks here. It should be a very early sprint, and there might be a corner or two,
There's
as it
some
looks like.
jostling there in the middle of the pack for the actual positioning. I see UK on the left. I see Ghostman with two riders at the front. More UKs coming from the right side with more Locksters. Now I see Farmers. The sprint is underway. Acceleration from that out for Swexen or Farmers team, one of them. Not sure. Not sure who we have as host. It is for either Farmers or UK. Did you have a better visual than me, Sean? I don't think so.
I thought it was farmers on the right hand side, but I think that will be a photo finish. Absolutely no chance um, to know who got uh, third after focusing on the win.
So farmers or UK are taking the virtual lead of the green jersey, but that's just the first of many many battles we still hope to see in this tour. As we have an attack from Village now, it's I think it was Ivor falling from Luxors. Now Twanu trying to go as well with his team. I think it's the C1 if I recall correctly.
That is the C team. I'm guessing Ivor is the group right behind him, and they're all back together again. Actually, it's all the C teams. I'm guessing out in front with 30 seconds on the rest.
C team for UK
Oh,
is
sorry,
Ibra.
B team for UK.
All right.
That would be an interesting break there. I assumed it was Joe matching the moves of the rest.
All right, could be. interesting to see if one single B team, for example, would be allowed time. That could change the complexion of things going forward and the tactics that would be available. Some minutes ahead could give the dream of some to work for that 78 guy. But as you said, those climbs aren't particularly easy, right?
No, the climbs on stage two look like they're going to be far too difficult, but I'm most perplexed here on stage one by the pace that folks are going here. I thought somebody would have tried a breakaway at this point. There's a possibility that this stage doesn't come down to a sprint. If somebody wants to gain GC time, it will be, I think, on stages one or three, not on stages two or four if they're trying to get someone other than the 82 to win the GC. Now
All
would be
right,
the time to make a jab.
question for us both, as we are both in the booth from EMEA. Who has interest playing the GC for each team specifically, considering that the farmer team has Nico with A, Barna with B, Fanu with C, Village with Leo A, as you had already said, T2B Snake C, UK with Swaxon A, Eber B, and Joe C, and Loxers with Basso A, Ghosty B, Ivar C. I'm going to give my first thought on this and say that the UK would definitely be interested in a AC teams being prioritized, not because Ibra has any issue taking the B. That is also actually a very interesting option. But with the strongest players being in the A and C teams respectively, I could see them trying to make it work. For the Locksters, I would say A and B. Ivar, the less experienced of them all, having to fight for it with a C team might end up not being the ideal scenario for them. For farmers, I see Miko A, Tuanu C, two best options in case A doesn't go. C has an option with Tuanu. And Village, I would say the same. Leo A, Snake C. Your thoughts, John?
I think I agree with you on almost all the teams there, with the exception of Farmer. I think Barna is well positioned to play for Team B if other teams go that route. I don't see him attacking to go that way, but knowing how he's able to often maintain his energy, not fall back, not have too many issues, I think he could be um, a B team favorite if other teams choose to go that route because he will be best prepared for the final stages.
That is a very good point. And in the meantime, I think there is a Village rather isolated for a short period of time because we are soon, we soon will be arriving at Pas de la Courelle, and that is in 4 kilometers. It's Courelle. Let me see. It is Courelle. I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm not French. My parents raised me right, so that's a
And I
joke,
can't help
obviously.
you being the American. My French is worse than yours. Um,
All right.
but uh, I'm not sure how many folks are actually gonna try hard for these KOM points on this stage. I think the KOMs are going to go towards the 82 mountain riders, maybe the 78 if we get some early breakaways that aren't for the GC on those stages. So I'll be interested to see if anyone really prioritizes these because there's no reason to be ahead with 531 points. Um,
All right. And that takes me to my next question, actually. Knowing that there is a big advantage from playing GC in Tour with this scale, as it should be, as most people will likely agree, but still, there is a big importance in the secondaries jerseys, both points and KOM, as well as stage wins. Do you think that any of this lot of participants will actually try and focus first and foremost in the secondaries and stages?
I think Farmer Team is most likely to be looking for the intermediate in KOM. I don't know where they'll prioritize for the stages, but Tuanu is a very good KOM and intermediate sprint um, player, and I would foresee them really aiming for
KOM, bro.
some of those
KOM.
points. As we see Tuanu take, I think,
KOM,
one and
bro.
two across that
Yeah,
KOM point.
I, I'm not sure about the second. It may be indeed. UK gets either second or third. So another good start here from the farmers. They're being very active on these intermediate jerseys fights right from the start. So if they can actually continue this way, it will be one secured thing, virtually obviously, in this first stage, and they will still have margin to also try to medal in the fights for GC. So that would be a great start for them.
Exactly, because Daniel Miko, I think, can play both of those strategies as well. I think he'll be going for some of those KOMs on the later stages. I think they've got lots of options depending on how they play that as we now head up our second, third category climb, which again, I will not try to
Yep.
pronounce at all.
That would be plumbed up, I believe. I'm also not 100% sure. Some are easy for me, some not. This one I have some doubts, but plumbed up is underway. And we have 3.9 kilometers now. I see Luxors UK, and I believe it's Farmers at the front, and now Snake trying to play catch up.
And 3 kilometers to go here on the KOM, being led out by Joe Whaley. Um, Interesting to see Ivar just kind of stuck on the back of this group. It didn't look like he sprinted too hard for the other
Uh,
KOM points, but
uh,
it looks like maybe he is now.
might one who have lost a rider there in the fights for the sprints. I had to
It
leave him at the peloton.
it does look like he's been left back behind. Unclear there, but we see Joe Whiteley, Ivar now also attacking, and Twanu coming late, but it is for Joe
Oh,
Whiteley, and then Twanu
Cummings.
getting lighter in
Cummings
April.
going there in a very dominant fashion. And KM Bro reminds us virtual Daniel Miko, and Ivar was second, and I believe that possibly Tuanu still did third.
I agree with that count there. As we see now, Emea's riders far, far behind.
Yes, for some bizarre reason, he always has that need to show us that when we couldn't care two fucks about it.
Um, the gap here is not too large. It's 130. I don't think that's going to be something that remains for the entire stage. But let's see if any of the teams out in front want to keep their gap until the fourth cap.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you how viable is an actual breakaway, or at least one with a long time gap in this stage, because there's still quite a few, three more KOMs to be fought for.
I don't think breakaway is what I would think is most likely here. I think it is possible for us to see a reduced group out of the peloton from that second category climb, although the stage has been very slow so far. I think you could drop an 82 sprinter or something like that on those later climbs. I don't expect to see a long breakaway um, make it though. There's too long of a gap from after those climbs to the finish, and clearly not enough impetus from the break or from the peloton at this point to make this a hard race. To make that a
There's
possibility.
definitely not a big commitment at this point in an actual break. We have a 114 gap when it comes to time, and we only have 8 riders ahead. But, however, after this fourth cat, I see there what looks like, I would call it a semi valley. I mean, there's a small bump in the road there. But at this point, if some of the teams in the peloton relax, those that can get a few riders ahead might actually try and use that as leverage for the end of the stage. We shall see.
We shall see indeed. And we've got 2 kilometers until our Mazagui climb, and we should see the KOM battle up in front with
It's a
1K to go.
1.1 kilometer climb, 491 meters of altitude at 7.9 average. The steepness is mostly in the middle of it, near until the end and almost from the start. And it's going to be Cummings and Yates for Joe White leading the 1-2. Not sure if it was Farmers or Luxors taking the third place, but it's a fourth cat, so I think only two counts.
I think it might have been Farmer over there for third. It's just the 1 point
Oh, it's just 1 point,
for
so Joe White
Cummings
is
there.
securing it. All
And we
right,
see
thank
a
you very
rider
much.
of Toinu dropped off the back. I think that's what happens when you have two up in front and one trying to maintain in the peloton. He's not an important rider for the team overall.
Like, Wah
Um,
was very likely the rider that he burned earlier when fighting in those sprints and intermediates, so not surprised that he's going through some difficulty, but he will have a little bit of terrain here to try and get him back. And he is already back, actually.
and now it looks like we see another gap in the peloton. Likely not wide enough for there to be an issue, but we do see Village trying to find their way towards the front with Ghosty and Barna also jumping on the back of that
Fight
train.
of B teams, but not sure what additional team Village has there. I'm going to think it's the C team trying to take the B out.
It was the C team, and now Daniel Miko is the only A team that has made it across. But with Basso trying to do their best and Leo pacing this group of A teams. This
Always
is
a man of opportunity, Daniel Miko.
the weird scenario that I didn't foresee happening, which is that maybe all A teams would get left behind together, um, with the exception of Miko kind of in the middle. So this is a great play from the farmer team if it can make a difference, as we see someone from Village also creating a gap in between.
And we seem to be uh, back to everyone that was in the peloton getting together. There we go. And further down up the road, I don't know who is on that E2 Emma, if we could see that quickly, because I missed sight of it when looking away. It's T2, so that is the B team. Trying to
The
join
B
the others now at the front.
And the B team is the team with the 82 sprinter. So I think that rider will struggle to get over that second category climb. Just looking at kind of the steepness on the parkour here. But if it's in the breakaway, that could be a rider that ends up in the main group at the finish. So we'll see if they can make the connection somewhere in this valley.
And let us actually see, because this presents a very different scenario of what could be expected. T2 is kind of in Schlosspatat, or whatever the German word is that I don't entirely recall. He's in the middle of nowhere. He's give or take 1 minute behind the break and 1 minute ahead of the peloton. For Village, that doesn't even have one team in the break to begin with, this might be committing too much energy to something that might not work out later if the C teams at the front try to knock out his sprinter in the further climbings ahead.
Exactly here. Um, with that, we're heading into the looks like the final third of the stage. With P2 finally making it across with just a small gap and someone attacking as well. It is Toinu's third rider, who seems to be on and off the front of his group there. But the gap has
With
been.
T2, brother of Tuanu and Yanu, actually reaching this first group, this changes things in how the break is established, because everyone now will actually be against him because he has that 82 sprinter.
And the 78 mountain. I don't think a 2 minute gap is enough for it to be a worry, but this could be a GC gap if the rest of the folks behind don't pace these final climbs. Just to give them a little bit extra incentive here, as we see an attack from Joe Whiteley.
That's a smart one, trying to provoke the response from Village, knowing that uh, the the rider with the B team already is down one guy. The same for Farmers, so he is eliciting a response for energy usage.
And Ivar does not seem to be paying attention to this attack or is comfortable going with three alone. We'll see if that is the right call for him. But surprised to see that gap kind of continue to widen from Ivar to the attackers.
All right, I'll leave you all in the more than capable hands of Sean, and I will try to join as soon as possible. Take it from here, Sean.
Thank you so much. As we head up now to the Col du Fourchet, it is a 5 kilometer climb at average 9%. We see Joe losing one of his domestiques here as they start the climb. It is 6 riders altogether, 2 of Tuanu, 2 of T2, and 2 of Joe Whiteley, with 3.5k to go. And Ivar having made the connection almost. Not quite, but looks to before the top. And we see Tuanu being the most likely to pace until the top of the climb. Uh, Back behind, we still have the peloton on about 1 minute 45 to the front. And these 4 riders looking for, I believe, the 5 points at the top of the second category climb. Yates, Payson, Cummings, the same thing for the C team of Farmers. And there we go. The push towards the top of the climb and some of the steeper sections begins. Huanu looking in great position for La Pera, but Joe Whiteley following close behind. Here comes Cummings. Will he get to the top first? It looks to be, I think it's the Farmer team in front of PCM UK and a second team of UK, with the gap widening even farther if we could see the gap from the peloton to the front. And we see a third category climb here as well. So all 6 of those riders will be looking for the small points at the third cat as well. Tuanu pushing the pace just a little bit again, now with 2 riders of Ivar. And Joe Whiteley now leading the pack again, as we see a rider of T2 pacing Joe Whiteley's Domestique. It looks like the gap to the peloton is now over 2 minutes 20. With 1K to go on this climb here, we see Joe Whiteley stuck behind Tuanu and Ivar. There goes the attack. Joe Whiteley seems to be in the best position. It is Joe Whiteley in front of Tuanu and Ivar. 5 riders going over the top together now for, I think, a little bit over 25 kilometers to go. And Ghosty pacing behind in the peloton. And we're the only team with a B rider in the front is Village, and that is T2. Unlikely that he would take the stage as long as he's prioritized that 78 mountain rider, which we'll need to check again, but could be a small GC gap there. Again, the gap to the front is 2 minutes. And Ghosty pacing down this small descent. And it looks like attacks in the front as well. It is now Ivar pacing with the puncher alongside 2 of Joe Whiteley, the 78 of T2, and the puncher for La Farmer team. Again, that gap looks here about to be 2 minutes as we approach the flat. There have been some riders that dropped from the peloton. Unsure if those are sprinters, cobble riders, or other domestiques. We see some of the teammates of those in the breakaway taking a little bit of a rest. Yes, it is those riders saving their energy. Which means the 82 sprinters are behind as the gap now goes down to 1 minute. It is everybody but PCM UK really pacing here in that front line, but it is the P-Laxers being the number 1 team pushing as we see an attack from Village. It is the Riders of Snake, which is the C team. He realizes not so much, and it goes to Daniel Miko to pace with the Farmer A team. With 10 kilometers to go, the gap is 40 seconds. Is that enough time for the breakaway still to make it to the finish for the stage points? It looks like there's a lot of firepower behind for the Farmer team. Still 48 seconds is the gap with about 7.5 kilometers to go. They are still pushing hard up front, and I assume that is the UK pushing with 2 riders since that's all that's left. And we see the 5K to go banner in the distance. All of the sprinters lining up here in the peloton. Some windy roads as well. If this goes into a sprint, how will that affect the riders? Joe Whiteley pushing. T2 in good position. Tuanu also in good shape with the puncher. As we see the 1K to go banner and the Flamme Rouge up front. The gap is small. Will it be taken up by the sprint? There goes the sprint for Joe Whiteley, and those behind will be coming fast. Joe Whiteley out in front. Joe Whiteley, Tuanu, Ivar, Tuanu, Joe Whiteley. It's Joe Whiteley. Looks like that finish line came a second late. It is Joe Whiteley, followed by Tuanu for the Farmer team. And third, Ivar for P-Laxers. The UK takes 4th to take the remaining stage points, but it looks like the rest goes towards the sprinters. And now we wait for the final riders as Amaya controls his last rider there, Nikki Terpstra. And we will wait for the final results, of course. And once we have the points from this stage, we will announce our updates. Again, we will take a look at the sprint and KOM standings, as well as the stage result and any GC gaps that were created in that sprint. I think it won't be too much. That looked like one group from what I could see, so not too big of a problem. I'm worried about the time gap here for Nikki Terpstra. Will he be able to make it? It looks like not. So there goes one rider for the stream team. And let's look at the results. For the stage goes to Steve Cummings. For PCM UK, for La Farmer team, that is Paulo Pera taking second place, while Pools taking third for Ivar and the P Laxers, and then UK coming in fourth for Adam Yates. Let's take a second to see if there's any time gaps here on stage one. Nothing too major with the exception of the intermediate sprint points. So Joe Whiteley is in the lead for the GC for the small points there. Joe Whiteley also in first place in the point standings. It looks like this might be a point race for the punchers. And the KOM standings 9, 9, and 1 as we go. So we will take a look and see once the overall points for the finish are decided. We'll have those here shortly. As we look at Team Tour, let's see if anybody's updated those points for us as we head to our second stage from Sondrio to Adolo, which is the Monte Como. It's a 207-kilometer stage, as you see, with some very high mountains here to deal with for our best climbers. It is the HC battle for the first climb. As Ame is correcting me, it is the Edolo. I don't think I did that correctly, even that second time. Again, this is for the Italian speakers. He said I was good. It is Sondrio to Edolo. And we wait for the second stage to get started here, with this being the biggest stage for the KOM battle and most likely the GC. So it will be a huge battle between all of the A teams, most likely, but we'll see if there's any breakaways that get started. The C teams, given how that stage went, will most likely be fighting for this first intermediate sprint, as that is their major battle at this point. We shall see. As we await the official results here still, we will get those points added up for us. And it looks like the points are as followed here after stage 1. PCM UK with 10 points for winning the stage, La Farmer with 5, and P Laxers with 2. Joe Whiteley, having Adam Yates finish in front of T2, steals 1 point from Village Dumartez. And we head into stage 2 as it loads up now. We look for the GC battle to begin shortly.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. A day in the mountains, where the team leaders and the climbers should show what they're made of. For the others, it's going to be a day of hard labor in order to reach the finishing line.
And we get started. Looking forward to seeing some potential attacks here from the teams. I think this is a great opportunity for the C teams to attack for the sprint point, and maybe a B team or two to at least try the battle between the A and B GC potential. I think it will be unsuccessful if they do so, so maybe no one will even give it an attempt. But it is worth the shot, of course. And it could be, if any of the B teams think they could go for the KOM, it could be their shot. Yeah, as we look at the start of this stage, could we check and see if the end of the stage also gives KOM points? And it does, so that is another first category climb there, it looks like, with 10 points to the winner. So if this does become an 82 mountain stage, I think those points will be crucial as well. So let's pay attention to who crosses all of those KOM battles first. And it is, of course, no pacing here in the peloton on the flat, as no one wants to waste their energy for what will be a very, very important stage. We see the riders of Ibra, Toinu, and others there at the front. As we see here, the time limit could be also very important on this stage with so many difficult climbs, as Amaya is noticing. It will be crucial for the time gaps to be fair and accurate. Any rider who times out on these stages will not be available for their teams on 3 and 4, so they need to pay attention to the time limit. This could mean that there will be people managing their later riders at the end of the stage once their GC men have finished, depending on how early they lose them. I think there is fear from teams that after this HC category climb, there could be very, very few domestiques left in the peloton. Obviously, they're not using much energy now, but the road has barely gone uphill. As we will see, it does after about 40 kilometers of flat. Even the climb to that sprint point is substantial enough to lose bars with no space to recover them. So let's look and see what teams do here, how slow things go, as we again continue to see the C team of Farmer pace the peloton alongside a team from the P-Laxers. We also look forward to the big dog returning to the booth, so that we can get some back and forth here as we go. Otherwise, as we look at Ivar, we see if we'll go willing to go 30 seconds or 30 effort on relay for the entire stage, as we see Amaya's riders starting to claw back the gap to the peloton. And we see no attacks, but a group from Village starting to come to the front. Is that the chance for Snake to attack, or are they just looking for positions? As now the Farmer team also falls to the left. As we see Snake make the first attack of the day with the C team for Village du Martez, followed closely by the riders of Ivar for P-Laxers. Ibra and Twanu now the ones trying to follow alongside a second team of P-Laxers. That is Ghosty. That means there are two B teams up in front there alongside three Cs, and 6 riders of the P-Laxers are in front. But of course, La Farmer team will pace it back with uh, Barna and then the infamous Daniel Miko. Joe Whiteley also finding his way up towards the front of these potential groups with the C team, as this is a very long stretched peloton with gaps that could be created at any moment. Riders must be paying attention, and we see attacks continue to go with one team of P-Laxers and the green jersey on loan to the team of Twanu for La Farmer. That looks to be an inconsequential gap, but Joe Whiteley does want to cover it, as does Snake, meaning all the C teams are now in front. This would be benefit to PCM UK, I believe, if this group was to be given lots and lots of time. But we'll have to see, as La Farmer has also sprinted well with their man La Pera in the green jersey on loan from Cummings. Yates is also loaning out that KOM jersey from both Cummings and La Pera, as we see Snake now pacing this front group to a gap of 110. And we see one rider also sitting in between with about 30 seconds. That is the 77 sprinter of Basso for the P-Laxers. This is, I believe, a good move in 2 accounts for him. First, it gives him a chance to fight for the green jersey points. There's still a possibility that those points could go to the 77 sprinter with a good stage result on stage 3. In addition, having an extra domestique towards the front for Basso could be crucial in maintaining riders later in the stage. As we noted, this will be a very challenging climb. There could be many folks falling off the back as we head to the Paso Galvia. And it looks like Ibra and Daniel Miko are now in a group slightly off the front of the peloton with Ghosty. Again, that is Team A for La Farmer team. We see 2 teams from Village du Martez pacing them back, Leo Philandry and T2, of course. And the gap stays at about 2 minutes as Ivar paces the group towards the first intermediate sprint, which will come in about 18 kilometers. We can promise that the entire stage won't be this slow, although most of the important bits will be as we go uphill. Thankfully, we have some steep descents to see the riders really test their speed. But the gap is now up to 2 minutes 30, meaning that the group in front is assured the intermediate sprint points for this first IS, unless they just decide to stop. As it looks like Ibra might be going for an attack, he does not. Daniel Miko also just maintaining the front of the peloton alongside the 2 riders left of Basso. And the gap extends to 3 minutes for the breakaway. Ivar's rider asking for a relay gets it only from himself as he takes water, as all the teams do so here, heading into the intermediate sprint with 12K to go. And we see the P-Laxers still pacing up front. Basso trying to figure out where to place his single rider, since a lead out will be challenging. We talked about, of course, the battle in the green jersey between La Farmer teams, La Pera and Cummings for PCM UK. Let's see if any of the other riders could fight in the green jersey battle at this point. Wout Poels for Ivar is also up front on 25 points, so 20 points down on the lead, but could get some crucial points, as we now see an attack. It is Twanu pacing, trying to make sure that Zabel for Basso can't get out in front for those points on his own. I did not expect to see this battle with Zabel going alone. I thought he would simply wait for the sprint himself. But this may be another worthwhile strategy with just over 5Ks to go to the sprint. The gap is 40 seconds. But now Ivar is doing the pacing to pace back his teammate. And with Pools, who should be, I think, the most important rider for that C team. Maybe he's just getting in position for his own sprint, but the gap goes up and down without any reason at about 40 seconds. Joe Whiteley looks content to sprint for second alongside Tuanu. As do all the teams here. It will be the 15 points or the 12 points at the intermediate sprint for Zabel, but here comes the sprint from Joe Whiteley and Tuanu. With just over 1K to go, Zabel looks to be struggling. Lapera in good shape. It will be Zabel, followed, I think, by Tuanu, or Lapera for the La Farmer team, and then Joe Whiteley. Let's take a look at those official results. Oh, it is the 15 points for Zabel, 12 for Lapera, and 10 for the team of Ivar. And then Cummings will maintain the green jersey for now. And as we look at the KOM standings, we see a lot of riders up in the front being listed in the top 10 of the KOM. However, only 3 riders have points at this point. That would be Cummings on 9, Yates on 1, and I believe Lapera also on 9. The gap to the front is now 5 minutes. This is much more than I expected, although certainly not enough for these riders to get to the finish if there isn't looking around behind. But people should pay very close attention. If I was not a member of PCM UK, I would certainly be trying to make sure that this GC does not come down to Joe Whiteley versus Ivar on the C team. Now, as a member of PCM UK myself, please do whatever you'd like. Snake was also not in the break, though, for stage 1, meaning they've probably saved a little bit more bars than the others, as you see them now out in front of the rest of this breakaway. And we arrive at the beginning of the Paso Gavia. It is a 23-kilometer climb, averaging 6%. You see the steepest sections from about 10K into the climb to about 20K into the climb, with a shallower finish and some shallow sections in the middle as well. Let's see how the riders play those, as we see Snake continue to push the pace out in front. And one rider already being gapped from this group, as we see folks starting to die from their earlier paces. It looks like Paulette for Ivar is dropping back, maybe to help in the peloton a bit. Otherwise, it is Snake out in front alone. And the spectators jumping out of the way or getting run over by, I believe, the team of Ibra there in the peloton as Snake continues to lead. Now for the C teams, we do have 2 interesting dynamics at play. There is, of course, the battle for the KOMs, which could be run by the punchers. But we also have the 75 mountain riders. Those could be a useful domestique if they're held late into the stage. I don't think they will be based on the gaps, although the gap from the front to the peloton is now 8 minutes. This is still not enough for those riders to make it to the end of the stage, almost guaranteed, but it could mean that the HC and the first category climb could go to that front group if the remainder want it to. But we see Basso pacing on the front of the peloton. Another interesting choice with just one domestique still there in Tony Martin, as his sprinter is still up in front with the riders of Ivar, and Snake now was almost going alone, but by accident now paces for the rest of his group. It looks like a little too hard for the others to hold on. And there we go, in the gap now being 9:22 to the front. This, I will say, was unexpected from my point. I thought riders would be held much closer for the GC, A 10-minute gap is when people will start getting very, very nervous, I think. And we do see Basso pushing the pace. He wants to get out in front and make this honest. And there we go. We see Daniel Miko starting to pay attention, as does Leo Philandri, I believe, or is that T2? It is T2 holding on for Leo Philandri. Ghosty now and Swagson and Ibra both staying in good shape in the peloton as well. As we see the full group out in front holding on together in E1. And the pace starts to stop here as we reach some of those higher percentages, 9, 10, 11% we've seen in the last couple seconds. As we see Barna now going on the tack for La Farmer team. That is easily matched by Ghosty, T2, and Ibra, who don't want them to get away too far. We see Ivar's rider not being able to maintain in the peloton, the first of the domestiques fully dropped for the day. Swagson holding on to the back, not worrying too much, it doesn't look like. Daniel Miko also doing fine, but we see an attack from T2 for Village du Martez. They are not getting too much of a gap, but as you see, the gap from the front to the GC group has fallen so fast. It's now down to 6 minutes, and that was really in a matter of just a few kilometers. So this is why the stage should come down to the 82 mountain riders. But we see the group differing, and these points could be crucial. You see Lapera on the front. Joe Whiteley also looking to be in good position with Yates and then Cummings. Ivar on the inside. Will Cummings be able to come across? Cummings goes. Then the rider Lapera and 2 riders of Snake, I believe, will be the final
KOM.
at that point
KOM.
for the KOM. A huge KOM point total there. I believe 15 for the winner across the top of that climb. As we follow back to the GC group, Thomas attacking for Ibra. As all of the 78 mountain riders look to be getting a little bit of a gap, T2 the one most likely trying to connect to the front, although there is still a big gap between him and the next closest rider, Martinez for Barna, Gall and Thomas together as well. Otherwise, the rest of the peloton pretty much intact, with a few domestiques falling behind. And Amaya's riders looking great as they head towards the KOM point. But we see riders pretty much all together up in the front, 2 of each team, and now the third rider for Joe Whiteley returning with most likely another domestique coming back from E2 here momentarily. Not sure whose team that is. Probably the team C of Village du Martez, if I had to make a guess. But we see some of the important riders making the descent here. It is a long descent followed by a false descent flat section as we head towards our first category climb. But it is now Joe Whiteley pacing with his third rider on the descent for Team C, and Ivar right on his wheel. And that domestique does come back, as we'll have to check and see who that is. It looks to be the 77 sprinter of Basso making it back to the front, if I'm not mistaken. If we could take a look, it is Zabel for Basso who has made it back, and now we see all of those 78 mountain riders still out in the middle. This is a strategy that I'm not too aware of myself. Then again, as you might have noticed, you didn't see me in any late rounds in solo or team either, so you probably shouldn't question me about tactics here in Tour. Otherwise, though, it is not the best strategy to have your second best climber out in front with no help, I don't believe. And Joe Whiteley has made an attack from that group on this false flat. Not wanting to pace the remaining teams, we see Stannard pushing hard on the flat. Now 51 seconds gap over the rest of the breakaway. They have about 4 minutes over some of those riders in the middle, which are the 78 mountain of, I believe, Village and Farmer team. Shouldn't be enough for a GC battle, but could keep those domestiques late into the fight on today's stage, depending again on how it's run. And the gap to the peloton at 6:15, pretty much. Yes, Snake has dropped a rider back to help T2 and the 77 Mountain of Barna. So they are working on good team tactics here for Village, as Roland will continue to save energy as Snake paces on his behalf. This could be a good strategy. We'll have to see how it works as it goes. But Ibra now trying to get the peloton to put in some work together. But Snake also asking Twinu to stop up front and help this group, it looks like, although I cannot read all of the messages there. We see Ibra now pushing with Cavendish. That is an 82 sprinter who got over the HC categorized climb. This stage was run very differently than I assumed it would. But we are starting the uphill sections for this first categorized climb, the Monte Padrio. It has 1.5 until we start getting to the climb and is just over 10 kilometers. And we see the riders of Ibra now on the attack. That is Cavendish pushing the pace on the last section that he should be useful on, which is this flat. I think that is Ghosty also starting to get in front. And here we are to the front of the climb. That is Joe Whiteley with 2 minutes 20 in front of the peloton. And Basso pacing behind in E2 as Ivar now connects with them. And he falls off the pace again. It is those 77 mountain riders of the other teams there in the middle, as well as Ibra and Ghosty in between. And Daniel Miko pacing in the peloton for La Farmer team. He is, of course, the most likely GC rider, not Warren Scold, but Daniel Miko for La Farmer. We'll have to see what his strategy is there as we see Cavendish, the Domestique, coming back for PCM UK. And I believe that is Leo Philandri as well, pacing for Village du Martez here in the group, or at least wanting to be in the front. This looks like it is a narrow climb, if we're seeing these roads correctly. Will be important to stay in front of these groups. And there goes Ghosty pacing in the back. Joe Whiteley looks like maybe losing standard here as Yates pushes the pace for Cummings. They have 50 seconds over the rest of this breakaway, which now is... Nope, we are back to the peloton. Forgive me. And now the breakaway, we see Koinu pushing the pace for La Farmer team. Apologies on pronunciations here as well if I get them wrong, but we see all of those 77 mountain riders working well there, as we see Standard also working for Ibra in the middle stages of this climb. If Joe Whiteley gets to the top with these two riders, this could be game over for the KOM. He has been in great shape getting KOM points these first couple climbs and on the first stage. If he's able to max out here, that would be crucial. Although LaPera has been doing good from that second group as well. Yates now falling into the other wheels as we see Tuanu starting to pace as well and losing a domestique. And domestiques are falling from this peloton as well, as you see it now down just to 13 riders. Folks are falling off the back almost every second. It is 2 minutes from this group E1 to E2 there at the front. The pace has slowed down as we see other riders starting to reconnect from the front. But again, this could be a great KOM battle from Joe Whiteley. And there we go. The points go to Cummings, followed by Yates. A great pair there. Lepera looking for the remaining points as best as possible. They will be the two teams looking for the KOM in the future stages. And Snake takes the remaining points at the top as they drop some of the other riders. Petition for no more tunnels on stages in the future so that we can see all the riders from a good POV. But we see Swagson and Basso pacing the GC group here, it looks like, as they approach the top of the climb. And we will check the time gap from the front to them as they cross. It is 7 minutes 30. 7 minutes 51 even. Oh, that is back to Basso with the gap. So 7 minutes 30 is the gap from the front to the back.
So it's noses downhill, which will allow the riders to catch their breath.
And now here we go, Snake at the front. Joe Whiteley pacing with Yates here in the downhill. The gap being 1:23. Clearly, Snake pacing pretty hard for Village, as they do have the GC advantage of the 77 mountain in this group, alongside P. Laxers. We see just one rider of La Farmer team, and that is the puncher Paul Lepera for Tuanu. As we see some of the other riders in the middle, and Swagson pacing in the front with Daniel Miko to get this descent in the GC group with 12 riders present. And of course, we check on Amea's riders here in the back, as they are not the last riders to cross the top of that climb. They will need to pay attention to any of the sprinters they might be carrying along. And now it is Joe Whiteley here on the flat before the Motorola. It is another steep climb here, looking about 17 kilometers if we're gauging the bottom of the stage correctly. And we see Yates pushing on the flat. There are the 78 medium mountain riders, the 77 mountain riders there in E2. As we see an attack in E2 and there being a gap brought, it is Snake trying to do the pace. Again, he just paces slightly too hard for the remaining riders in that group. As we see, I think one rider of Ibra and one of Ghosty there in the middle. Those are the others trying to connect, but there's a 3-minute gap. A very interesting GC position here, as this descent shouldn't be a spot where you can catch up too much time. It will just matter how much energy you have over the top and can recover on the descent. But it is Yates starting the climb of the Passo del Motirolo. And the gap now just 1 minute. And Joe Whiteley asking, P. Lakesers, what are you doing? He doesn't know. I'm not sure Basso knows either, with just his sprinter in the front. Maybe they're looking for green jersey points. Who knows? I joke there. But what is the strategy as now riders in the back pace together for Swagson and Basso? Full set looking likely to connect here. Unsurprisingly, it is Martin now protecting Basso back in the peloton. This was an attack I think many of us could have expected, which is Basso wanting to get in front. But Daniel Miko has all of his domestiques still ready to go and never lets anyone get away on a climb. How could he? That just doesn't seem right for the Frenchman. And this group is together at the front with the exception of the Leixers. So it is Joe Whiteley still pacing, but now we have 277 mountain riders in that group, meaning this will get much more complicated. And Ibra falling back to the other riders of Swagson as Basso also gains a domestique from his teammates. Joe Whiteley's standard looks not to be helpful anymore, but Daniel Miko continuing to sit on Basso's wheel and let him get nowhere. Gall for Ghosty is here as well to help, most likely to rest until Martin falls. But let's see, as now we see 3 of La Farmer, 2 Laxers, 3 Village, and 2 PCM UK with 8k to go towards the Paso de Mosrolo. And the gap to the GC group, as we should note, is just 3 minutes. Let's see if this group's even able to make it to the top of the climb. I don't think they'll be able to make it to the top of the finish, but PCM UK with Joe Whiteley now getting a gap on Snake and Village du Martez. And it's a 20-second gap over those 2 riders of Snake. Ivar now also trying to figure it out. Snake going, Ivar, no! Help behind, you can't beat Joe. But we'll see, maybe there is a strategy there. We'll have to pay attention. The inter-team drama, always interesting here in Team Tour. But Snake is pacing now for Roland, and the group is back together. 8 men with just 5Ks to go in the climb. And here in the peloton, of course, it is important to recognize who is left. There are 3 riders of Basso. 3 riders for the Pilaxers, 2 of Basso, 1 of Ghosty. Back behind, we have 3 riders for PCM UK, 1 of whom is from Ibra and 2 Swagson, as now riders start to fall back. And the gap only 220 to the peloton now. The farmer team seeming to avoid the drama of these, but there's an attack from Ibra trying to close the gap, as well as from Swagson with Froome. This group could be all back together with just 3k to go on the climb. Pinot for Leo Philandri, a name we haven't said very much, means that the GC battle is on. Daniel Miko, almost the one being left out, but he is here as well. Joe Whiteley, seeing other groups moving fast for the top of the climb, starts to go with Cummings and Yates. Tuanu in good shape for La Pera, who is also going for the KOM battle, but it is Roland most likely going. And there goes Cummings for Joe Whiteley. Tuanu coming on the inside. It is Joe Whiteley, followed by Roland, followed by La Pera, and then Froome for Swagson. This KOM battle has been very, very interesting. And look at all the riders up in front. We've got too many riders to manage all of them at this point. We've got 3 of P. Laxers here in the back, as well as 1 domestique for PCM UK and some riders of La Farmer team. Out in front, I believe that is 1 rider each of Village, Farmer, and PCM UK, none of whom are the 82 mountain riders, though they are deciding to come back and help for the final climb. This final climb is the Monte Colmo, as everybody now recovers as many bars as possible before the finish. In this group, I believe we have all of the 82 mountains and all of the punchers. I do not believe all of the 78 mountain riders are here. I believe the rider of Ibra and the rider of Ghosty might be missing. Unclear about Ghosty, but I believe that is true, especially for Ibra. And it is a 3-minute gap there. So, as we suspected, PCM UK would not be looking for a B team GC battle. Still a C or A, good for them. Village, I believe, has all of their important riders with 3 together, and someone off the front. That is the 70. Nope, that is the puncher for Village with Snake getting out there trying to gain some time. And here we go, the Monte Como 11.7 kilometers to the top at an average of 8.3%. And Roland going for T2 and Village du Martez, followed by a rider of La Farmer team, that is Martinez from Barna and the B team as well. 30 seconds from the front to that full peloton as we see this nice attack from both French teams. And the gap does widen. It is Ivar pacing on behalf of P. Laxers, as well as one of the riders of Joe Whiteley at the front of that peloton. Let's see what pace they decide to do. Now, we thought this would be the GC stage with lots of gaps. It does not appear that that is the scenario. So let's see what can be done on stage 4 or stage 3. Just because it is a likely sprint stage doesn't mean GC gaps can't occur. There are always politics in these finals and the breakaways, so let's see who maybe gets there. But it is Swagson now looking around, trying to make sure the gap doesn't open up, but he lets it a little bit, as it is Ivar and Joe Whiteley out in front of them, and La Pera for Tuanu. If I'm seeing this correctly, none of the GC leaders have an official helper from their individual riders. They all seem to be separate, but the situation as it was, with a big gap for those in front. But Ivar now attacking with a domestique. This seems like a fruitless attack, unlikely for any major points here. It would be 2 for the stage, but otherwise not a GC importance, as Gates now pushes the pace with 5 kilometers to go in the climb. 4 kilometers to go for those at the front, 5 for the peloton. Cummings now trying to pace for Froome. Martinez looking to slow down for La Farmer team, as it is Joe Whiteley pacing his 82 rider for Swagson. What can Joe do? The group is now all together again. That breakaway is done with just under 3K to go on the climb. Basso at the back of the group, but it is Froome now pushing for PCM UK and Swagson. Leo and Daniel Miko are also there, but Basso looks to be on just a little bit of a gap as we welcome the big dog back to the booth.
All right, as I return, I see we are at the end of stage 2, right?
Tough to hear you here. So we've got 1.2 kilometers to go, and they are under the banner. Swagson, Leo, Daniel Miko, and Basso all together with 700 meters to go. They make the turn. Swagson out in front. How will the positions matter? Swagson looking for the stage. Leo almost goes through him, but it should be for Froome. It is PCM UK, Village, the P-Laxers, and then Farmer team in that order across the line as we now await the remaining riders to the finish. There will be KOM points here if La Pera can get in front. Will he get in front of Barna's rider? He does not. And there we go. That looks to be the finish.
So, it seems like it was an interesting stage. I saw some things here and there, but it seems like it was an interesting stage.
As now we await the other riders. As you wanted us to remind you, Amaya, please check your riders that they are not pulling any of the sprinters there in the back.
As I have returned, and I saw quite the interesting ending for the stage. Is that correct? It was. I saw some bits here and there as well. It looks like it was an interesting stage. Was that the case, John?
It was indeed a very interesting stage. We had so a number of attacks, many more in the beginning of the stage than we thought, and then on the final climb, some great team play from PCM UK to pace Froome to the front, and no one could overtake him in the final.
And Christopher Froome turning back the clock, running away from the very, very washed version of nowadays, and getting a win for PCM UK. In second place, it was a Strand Village, then the Luxers, and then Farmers Team. This should result in the yellow jersey staying in the same team, but perhaps with a new rider, because I believe there was a gap to Steve Cummings.
There indeed was a big gap there. That should be going to Froome based on what we saw. We'll have to wait on the official, but otherwise, the riders should be on the same time except for the bonus seconds, meaning that stage 4 might be the decisive GC stage.
I
Well, it
see that
must be at this point.
I see that Joe is the best placed C team on this stage, if I'm watching correctly.
I believe that would be C for La Farmer team for Twanu. Did gap him by a little bit. B team was a big struggle though for UK and for the Laxers.
So
So
Joe and Kwanu doing a great job with their C teams, two veteran players that know how to manage energy.
indeed. And as we look at the overall results here, we're now on the green jersey. Steve Cummings leading for PCM UK, and in the mountain points,
Show
Lapero
us the
is
overall again, Emil, the time. It's Christopher Froome, Thibaut Pinot from Leo, Basso, and then Daniel Miko. So 4, 6, 10, and then the 3, 6, Lapera, Pierre Roland, and then it's looking as we had said earlier for the A riders. They already have a 3 minutes gap. Shouldn't be something we expect to change on the next stage, but we shall see.
indeed. This is looking like a pure 82 battle. I am extremely surprised with how the stage went, though. So who knows what's going to happen here on stage 3, as we see the lobby has already launched as they get ready for.
What do you mean my mic super sucks, mother? I will contain myself because this is not my stream where I can swear because it's R-rated. I was muted. Of course you couldn't hear me, man. Of course it is okay. It was always okay. It was just muted, bro. All right. So the provisional standings before this stage were PCM UK had 10 points, 5 for the Farmers, 2 for Luxers, and 0 for Village and in the Mud. So we are waiting how that will translate now with stage 2. PCM UK should have 20, I can tell you outright. I think Village was second, will have 5. Farmers will have,
Farmers look to
actually,
be on 6
Luxers.
points.
Farmers will have 6, and the Luxers will have 4, I think, or
The
5,
score that
something
is
like that.
correct.
4, okay. So we're back for stage 3.
Watch
And
out! Team
there
leaders
we
falling in
go
line.
as we get started here on our third stage. Um, no riders giving up on the time limit there, so we are still 36 strong here in the peloton.
So right now, PCM UK 2 stage wins, virtual general classification, virtual green jersey, virtual KOM. They are leading this tour quite dominantly, but there's still halfway to go, and we have an attack from the farmers. And they may have, for some reason, decides to focus on Stephen Cummings, and we would like to see who else is already up the road. So there's BC for the UK, and BC probably well, everyone's gonna get together now.
Everyone together again as they now go into the intermediate sprint. Um, these intermediate points are much more important than I thought they would be at the beginning of
The
this
courageous
tour.
rider is looking to
Uh,
break away.
there, of course, will be the 82 sprinters still here to steal some points depending on which teams decide to use them. But these will be important points for the punchers, especially Lapera and Cummings, who are in good position in the points battle.
Visho was trying to leave again, but it was denied by mostly the majority of the pack that was also trying to join. And obviously, as people seem to many times forget, if you all attack at the same time, no one will go away.
You say
So,
that thinking that these riders actually want a breakaway. I think they just want to be able to complain later that nobody let them away. But anyway, there are 9 kilometers to go um, in before this intermediate sprint. Let's see how the teams line up. Joe Whiteley looking to be in difficult position if he's sprinting for Cummings here on this stage for the intermediate sprints to
well,
secure the green
they're
jersey.
definitely won't be a break now because everyone is indeed focusing on this intermediate sprint. And well, there's another attempt here from the farmers. Actually, it seemed like it was going to be an acceleration, but everyone is immediately responding. The acceleration is underway for the intermediate sprint. And as you said, well, Joseph Whiteley is in a not so good position if he wants to sprint for Steve Cummings.
There's still 5K to go, and we see Joe Whiteley's team sliding in between the team of Varner and Tuanu. A great slide there for Joe Whiteley. Cummings should be able to sprint from that position. Zabel, one of the other people we should be looking at for the green jersey. For Basso, I would guess that he will make it to the finish, knowing Basso's capabilities with the 77 sprinter.
We will now focus on the sprint, but then we will see afterwards who survived in the front and how many are still in the back. I see some A teams trying to join Miko Inspection, go for the sprint, Emel, go for the sprint, Emel. It's Cummings and Cavendish and Kokar. Kokar is going to take it, and then P second, P third, I believe, and then only Cummings. I think that is the
I
order.
think that's right as well. Unclear there on the full results, and we do see a little bit of a gap, including the yellow jersey back behind in A1, but only 45 seconds, and no one really looking to push the pace here in the peloton.
Yet, because as we speak, Village puts a guy working, and let's quickly check A1 Emel to see who is left behind with Swags. It's
Is Daniel Miko.
Swags. Daniel Miko. I'm not sure who is not here because we can only see five. Okay, we have Basso and Leo. Actually, all the leaders seem to be here, and it's Joseph Wiley was trying to take Swax from him, and Swax now accelerates into his teammate, knowing that the others need to up their pace to catch up. Everyone seems to be together for now. And now we have less than 20 kilometers until the start of the next climb. I'm not sure how this translates for the green jersey, with Cummings only being fourth, if you remember, and I'm sure if the guys ahead were close to him or not.
So Coulthard shouldn't be too much of an issue for him. That's not a significant challenge, if I recall correctly. Zabel taking points for Basso is, if Basso can make that rider get to the finish, although I think that is going to be the challenge. I think Pools also was in good position there. Pools probably is not the rider most to be worried about. The fact that Cummings beat Lapera for Toinu, if we saw the sprint correctly, was the most important for Joe Whiteley.
Arthur Vichot striking again for Village. That is Snake, and it's immediately followed by there's Luxers in it. I think it's Ivar.
It's got to be Ghosty, I believe.
B team by proximity would by yeah it would actually theoretically should be the counterpart responding, so it would be B team is Ghosty indeed, and Ivar now joining Speak of the Devil. And Toilu is already there with La Pera.
The B team for PCM UK with Ibra there in the front as well, but lots of teams in this middle group. That would be all the all the Bs and all the Cs together in the front with the group
But
of
there's a
three in
movement there.
between.
There's a movement there. There was a movement there, but it seems that it's over. There's only 9 riders behind him. Who doesn't have 3 riders? Or it was, I think, Luxers were moving with Basso, denied by the other leaders. We will have the Col de Madelon. Can we see the Col de Madelon actual? There we go. I wanted to see the length because I don't remember the length. How long does it last, Amaya? The length of the
It is a
climb.
very very short climb, just 1.9
Not this one. The next one. The next one. The Col de la Madeleine. Thank you. It's a 15-kilometer climb. So we will have that steep 15-kilometer climbing part ahead. How do you think this could translate for the potential stage ending?
The 82 sprinters will not make it back after that climb unless the groups decide this to be a snooze fest, which I find unlikely given the riders here in this team final. But the 77 sprinter is the most important rider to care about. If
He's in which
if
team?
someone like Bosco can get over, we'll see. But we see another break in the peloton again.
There's multiple attempts of attack. There is a KOM, bro. KOM, as Dynamico would say. Up for grabs, and then another one afterwards. This one is going to be for Joaquin Rodriguez, and he is indeed taking it for Village. The peloton, the E1 group in this case, is really stretched up the road because there's a lot of acceleration still going after that KOM, and there's already a downhill almost arriving for Chalet Renard, and we are going into the Col de la Madeleine very soon.
This is a terrible break for the PLAXers and for PCM UK. Their B teams are so far behind, they can't allow a main group to get out in front. I think this was something that they needed to avoid in this stage and on stage 4. Um, Being with the other B teams out front is a really, really bad look for them. Uh,
It's been, correct me if I'm wrong, because like I said, I only saw some hits and bits from stage 2, but Ibra seems to be struggling a lot with the B team today. I'm not surprised it
Not
happens to
good.
Ghosty. I mean, however, with Ibra, I am a bit surprised. He seems to be struggling.
so in the middle of the stage on stage 2, for folks who are watching, we saw the B teams of Farmer and Village connect to the breakaway in between the HC climb and the first category climb. And Laxers and PCM UK were slow to react, meaning that we had Thomas and Gall, who is the 77 Mountain for Ghosty, out alone in between for a very long period there on stage 2.
Yes, I'm just being reminded by Emir, and I'm glad he did because I didn't even realize in the heat of the moment I said Col de la Madeleine when actually the Chalet Reynard is the obviously the long climb and the Col de la Madeleine was that shortcut tree. Sorry, Sean, you were saying I lost the train of thought because of reading Emir's message. You were explaining the situation of the B teams of Luxors and UK.
Yeah, Laxers in UK got dropped behind once the B teams for Farmer and Village made a wonderful attack from the peloton into the breakaway in between two of the climbs
This
there on
climb is
stage
feared
2.
by many
And I
riders,
think that's
pushing
really
each
what
other
caused
very hard.
Ghosty and Ibra to struggle.
I'm going to say that looking at all the B participants of the evening, these two, Ibra and Ghosty, would in theory be the ones I would expect to struggle a bit more, not because they're worse players than the others, but because historically they have, at moments here and there, been the ones presenting some difficulties in some decisive moments. So in this case, it was because they were dropped in a break, as you say, and well, how relevant can these B teams be for Luxors and UK given that gap? Would you think?
I mean, they're only domestiques at this point. There is no way that any of those riders can make the difference in the point standings, the KOM, or the GC if they're going to have any shot. Those teams need to be completely forgotten about at this point, as we see the three riders of T2 pushing the pace out in front of that big peloton of three
Precisely
riders
the
getting there.
B team. I'm trying to see. I was trying to see if he had some KOM points or not with his climber, but they may have changed the view.
It's just a
Uh,
few, it's 10 points there for Roland, which he's significantly behind
that if he gets a few points on this one and then he can try something in the last one, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities to see him have a shot. But however, uh, with these movements, I'm not sure if it's going to be uh, all blue skies for him or not.
Well, I think that will be too big of a struggle. But we see Ibrik reconnecting there as well as Cummings as this group comes back together with 3K to go in the climb.
Chalet Renard is about to end, as Sean said, 3K, now less. And it is T2, Ibra, Steve Cummings from Joseph Whiteley. And these are the three contenders for the KOM, unless those at 20 seconds manage to reconnect, they reconnect.
They are together again. La Pera is in a great position as well. La Pera is the biggest competitor for the KOM battle at this point for La Farmer team, as Joe Whiteley seems to be falling back just a bit. And La Pera making a good attack for second, as we can barely see, but it should be
I mean,
Roland.
some soon, thank you. And it's going to be Roland, Lapera, Cummings, and someone
Cummings.
Martinez from Barna.
Yep.
Not sure how that translates into points. Joe was third or fourth, I now forget. Uh,
Joe should be fine with those points. Not too big of a worry. Just a couple given to Lapera is not a problem for
Which
him,
means,
but they will
which
have to attack those second category climbs here and those on
yeah,
the next stage.
which means that this might prove to be a close fight between Lapera and Cummings for stage 4, where things might actually be decided, and it's a much harder stage then.
It is an incredibly hard stage. That would be a spot where I think getting the B team out in front for PCM UK to steal those points would be good. Not sure if Ibra is going to be able to do that for them, but that is up to them on the uh, strategy there. As we see the peloton with all of those 82 riders there in the back, and someone
Attack
attacking
from
across
Tom Pitcock is the
for
couple rider
Ibra.
for the B team from Ibra, I believe. It is TJ Van Garderen working for Daniel Miko. Not sure what's the goal here for him to work. I missed because Emea moves so much that I end up missing who's where. Okay, this is the pack of the leaders. Trying to see, I see Leo, I see Swaxon, I see Basso, I see also Miko. So all the leaders are here. Trying to see rider numbers. I think everyone has 3 for those.
I'm not sure. I think there's some riders back behind for the riders in those groups as we now appear back in the front of the front of E1. Some riders
Enemy
of Ibra
try.
and Joe Whiteley, Ivar with some riders as well as Twanu, and T2 and Barna. Snake
There's
maybe with
that
a rider or two as well.
whiplash effect, making sure that Joe Whiteley remains at the outskirts of the group. He will manage to stay inside that group, and the eighth brings Cummings back to contention on the break. Now it's snake attacking actually.
Just a slight increase in pace there. I don't think that group will separate. We'll see if he makes another attempt at a breakaway on this false flat.
All right, let's see what's going on. Who died and what was his name?
Looks like somebody off the back of this group here in A1.
La Pera is the best GC rider in the best placed rider in the GC on the first group. He is 3-6 down. Then there is Roland 311, 314 for Lenny Martinez. Steve Cummings is 324, 4 minutes for Pauls and enemies from Joe Whiteley, 512. So, Emma asks, wonder if UK should defend yellow or bet on Joe to recover gap. I think at the end of the day, this is going to come to hit them working for Christopher Froome because the gaps are quite revealing, and we suspect that this will come to a fight for the 82s on the last stage.
I would agree with that there. The big dog, I think that this has to be uh, the fight for GC here in the back. UK should be getting great points in the KOM at the end of this tour, regardless, given how Joe has been in the front. But a second place in GC alongside those might be the recipe for the win, where a fourth place in GC would put them likely in the middle, if not the bottom of the table.
Okay, so Sean, let's talk about controversial things because, as the fucking cunt that I am, I like to always bring the controversial matters to the table. Not only because controversy creates cash, but also because these are the matters that people also want to see discussed because they're usually important. PCM UK comes to this final after being, in my opinion, and I'll defend it anywhere, wrongly disqualified. However, with all this reserves dancing, they are here. Last minute, probably no recons, no time for that. Are they playing with a chip on their shoulder though? Because they've been very dominant so far. Doesn't mean it's won. There's still almost half a race to go. Do you think they're playing with a chip on their shoulder, trying to prove that they should be here since the start?
I think, of course, if PCM UK were to fall fourth here and have gotten last on all the stages, it would have looked like even more of a mess for things. And I think they know that they have to get a good result here um, to earn some respect, I would hope, but also need a good result to fight for the team overall. Uh, PCM UK was also out in line, not making the final, and so they, I think, believe were looking just for classics for the team finals after good results in the ITT and TTT. So any additional points they gain here, I think they are looking for. I think it's crucial that they get a second or third, if not the win here, instead of fourth or fifth or sixth, as
Well,
people thought they might be.
I'm going to be honest though, and with the privileged access that I also have to PCM UK as a co-community leader, and even what they already said publicly, they're not really worried about the team overall by this point because they know that it's almost impossible given some of the races you mentioned as well that they were out, including inline. However, I think for them, given they still have classics final and I want to say Karen top final eight that will
Yep.
be soon. I think for them, we and with the tradition that PCM UK has of winning titles on road, former road world champion, former tour world champion, former classics world champion, and former inline world champion, if memory serves me. I think the important thing for them at this point is to try and get as many victories as possible.
Of course. Um, and they'll continue to fight here. I'm glad they've got good members in both the front and this Peloton group. Um, but I know they're looking for the win. As are Village, who's now on the attack with Snake, realizing that maybe a solo attack to get to the finish is a
Oh,
good move there. But he's
speaking
reconnected on the riders of Twanu.
sorry to interrupt you. Speaking of the situation of UK, a word of appreciation for PSM, PCM, Jesus, USSR. I believe it was one, but it's all from the same community. A word of appreciation for them because they're actually good guys. It ended up being a very sad situation that they could not participate here today. It was applied the rule as it has been consistently during the World Championship. It was something that the organization even apologizes because we were not aware at that point that the rightful first reserve was PCM UK. So to them, we would like to always show our appreciation and love. PCM USSR was very sportsmanlike in receiving the news. Obviously, they weren't happy, but they didn't make a fuss about it. They weren't salty. They're great guys, and so we thank them for always for their sportsmanship conduct. And unfortunately, it wasn't possible for them, but they're very good guys, very good players, and I'm sure they will be here soon. And Steve Cummings is gonna cross the KOM first.
And we'll have to look at the second results there, but it looks like Yates also took some points from La Pera, as we see Ivar now pacing in the peloton. These climbs should not be enough for any breaks unless somebody's not paying any attention behind. But yes, USSR took the news very, very well. As reading through the thread as the news came out, definitely unexpected and challenging news for them to receive very close
Yes.
to the start
I
here.
can't imagine that it had to
Heroes.
be easier for them. I know it wouldn't be for anyone else taking the news, not even one of us if we were part of that. But they were very, very good guys, and I'm really happy to have them in these World Championships. The way they performed with two teams above all expectations, true gentlemen, true class acts, and I wish them the best for their future. I hope they get many, many titles in the upcoming years.
Exactly, and we hear the sprint here. Joe Whiteley attacking uh, Ivar and Twanu also trying to get there, but Joe Whiteley, it looks like, wins the sprint ahead of the Farmer team and the P-Laxers. Joe continuing to rack up the points there. And as you said, you are completely correct. I think USSR is in a position in Kieran, maybe to grab a medal, if I'm not mistaken. In the final things, and we'll certainly be rooting for them unless they come
As
against our own
as
team.
biased as biased as I like to be, since as biased, sorry, as unbiased as I like to be, and since this year I'm not even part of any team, I will actually be rooting for USSR in Karen. But best of luck to UK as well. Obviously, it's my team, even though I'm not there this year. Everyone knows it's my community and the team I like. But I really hope for the best for USSR there as well.
Indeed. Um, Now we see the final section of this stage. The group out in front is very strong, and with a 440 gap, is the most likely group to make it to the finish. So all of those 77 sprinters we were worried about getting over the first category climb are useless anyway, seeing as they've not made the front group. This should
Trying.
be sprints between
I
the
believe. Sorry, I believe that if the gap was finished this way, we would have. I think Martinez or La Pera. I can't remember as a GC leader.
it should be the
La Pera.
77
No,
rider of La Farmer team, if I'm not correct, taking over the GC lead.
it's someone.
Let's
Wait,
take
I'll
another
actually
look.
tell you because I had an image here from previously with the standings. It would be La Pera from Toinou, C Team 3-6, then 311 Pierre Roland from T2 Village du Mar, and then Martinez 314 for Farmers, Team B, and then Joseph Whiteley 324. This would be the top four. Top five would close with Wood Powell's at 4 minutes from Ivar, and then Adam Yates 512 for UK. So I don't see. I see only one Laxers. That would be Ivar with Pools and then two village, two UK, and one farmer. Sorry, two farmers, two UKs, and one village.
But it will also be interesting there what comes with the bonus seconds. Cummings has taken a couple here at the sprints, as has La Pera. So if this group comes to the finish as is, unsure who will make it there, as the road has gotten very, very narrow as we approach the Côte de la Roque Dante. I think we're not even seeing the end of that name there, as we
We
chose
are
Joe
not, and that's
Whiteley
why I'm not
heading
even gonna
to the
try.
front.
Falling behind. A team
I
leader
know I
has
played
lost
myself, as is likely. We see Cummings and Lapera being the ones attacking, in addition to a rider from Village. But it looks
La
like
Pera
it's
is looking
going
good,
to
but it's gonna
be
be La Pera.
Lapera,
Then
and then Rodriguez, and then Cummings over the top of this climb. Um,
so Cummings defending, I think, the jersey for now.
Cummings is defending the jersey for now. Did good at the first, second category climb. Lapera did well there. They should be even on points across the group, I think, on the stage. But we've got 4K until the final KOM
So
points of the
Cold
day.
says in less than 2 kilometers. Then there's a flat section there. How's it looking for the end of the stage? Who would you bet on when it comes to a specific rider?
Well, we're going to be down to the sprint. Tuanu has had some good sprints, so I would probably be looking at the stage result for Lapera and Tuanu, although Joe Whiteley has also, of course, gotten some good ones so far. Joe Whiteley attacking now with 1K to go on this final second category climb, the Col de Cez. And
I
Joe
see.
Whiteley out in front, Tuanu, and it is going to be Joe Whiteley
Oh,
in front of
Tuanu. It is
Tuanu
La Pera
on
actually.
stage.
So Joe Whiteley, in a sort of yo-yo moment right now, loses some, gains others. Gap should be maintaining at a very similar level from what it was, and it should still be a close fight for the final stage, actually. And now we see Christopher Froome at the front.
And he's looking maybe to try to bring McClay to the finish line. I'm not sure what that strategy is. If I was Saxon, I would not have his GC leader pacing at all on these stages, trying to protect a little bit of green bar for stage 4. But all of these riders are together now. The most of UK, it looks like, with a couple riders of Ibra also there in the front. Um,
I think it's even too late for that. It's 3 minutes, Gap. Unless people stop here, which I doubt. Uh, it's 3 minutes, Gap, give or take, for
Well,
the.
are they pacing against the GC leader who's dropped? I don't think so. I think all the important ones are there. Yes, they are Colset, Pinot, and Fignon still there in this group. So they're not pacing against any of the GC. But it's come down to 220. So I'm
Now
not
it's
sure
possible
who's.
suddenly. Yeah, because the front group isn't going as fast, obviously, and Peloton tried to take advantage here in the form of UK. Not sure. Perhaps they realized, hey, we have Clay here. Maybe we can try to do something. Interesting to see.
And I'm guessing Basso also with his 77 sprinter still available. Probably none of the 82s left in that main peloton. No one, I believe, up in front uh, else available to sprint except the punchers. But the gap is down to 145,
145. Is it possible? It's not looking bad.
130. But I
Now
don't
acceleration from
understand.
Manu.
Just another moment of not understanding the strategy
I
from these
think
teams.
that's exactly what it is. They have McClay. They might feel McClay is with good bars. They might want to take those outs. We shall see. And
But it
Basso
is
as well as
Basso
the one out.
facing.
Yeah.
Basso must also. He is Zabo. Zabo will be the finisher for him. Maybe that's Laxers realizing they don't want to give any more time to the 77 mountain riders who are in the front from Farmer
I have
and
Kolstad is the leader for the Luxus team. Is that correct? The 82 mountain
it.
rider. Is it
It
Kolstad?
is.
So Basso has two guys other than Kolstad, so he's working as well.
Oh,
So
into
Basso
two
might be
attacks.
to attacks with Pierre
Roland.
Roland.
Roland is caught very quickly. A attack that pushes the pace just a bit as they slow down again, and an attack from Gall of Ghosty. Not an important GC rider there, so an interesting thing. As we also
I
see one
can
from
tell you.
Thomas
Oh,
Libra.
Garrett Thomas. Yeah. Wow, there's a lot of attack attempts in these final kilometers. Knowing some experienced riders here that if they actually can't manage to get a gap, if the opponents look at each other, they could actually have a stage win here. But everyone is paying attention.
And 5K to go. The group is back together again.
And this is perhaps what Basso was trying to stop, a sprint where Cummings is involved because Joe has already 2 out of 2.
Fools trying to go, and a nice turn there. It's going to be
Let's see
Cummings
when
versus
Cummings is
Fools
already in
versus
position,
Rodriguez
accelerating with
and
Rodriguez
LaFera
with
coming
Bulls. It's going to
from.
be for Steve Cummings. Steve Cummings is going to take 3 for PCM UK.
And what a photo finish for second place there. It goes to Village with Joaquin Rodriguez, Wout Fools in third place for the P-Laxers, and LaPera in fourth. Those points in the green jersey competition could have been the deciding ones there for Cummings and all of the GC leaders, making sure they aren't gapped there as well.
I see Chris Froome, Fignon, actually Fignon
And there
first,
is
then
Pino.
Froome, Cossett, and who am I missing here? Fignon, Froome, Cossett, who's the other one? Who's the farmer's one? Uh, I have no idea. Is it Vabenziol? Interesting. That's a good question. I have no idea who the 82 mountain rider is for the farmers, but I assume it's that guy.
It is Fignon, yes.
No, Fignon. Then who is it for Village?
Pino.
Oh,
Pino
Pinot.
for
Wait.
Village.
Oh, okay. Then I was missing one, but it was Village, not the farmers. So Thibaut Pinot is there indeed. Fignon was actually the first leader to cross the line, then Froome, and then Magnus Colset. So, Sean,
Oh,
3 for UK, 2 jerseys so far, and 1 GC. It seems to be the dominant set in the bag, but one last stage where everything can change. If you're the competition, what would be the game plan for the last stage?
if you're going for the last stage here, you are focused only on GC. With 20 points behind, the way to gain those points back is with the GC placings. I don't think there's any other way for people to gain this time. We'll have to look at the GC results. I'm not quite sure. Um,
4
there
seconds,
we
6
go.
seconds, 10
There's the
seconds,
GC
10
group.
gaps.
If you're Village and La Farmer team, you are going to try to get your B riders into the breakaway. They have a shot to get the GC if it's played badly. And if
27
you're
points, sorry to interrupt you, 27 points advantage for UK in the green jersey, only 13 in the KOM. KOM still open. Points, not sure if done or not, but close to it. The risk here might actually be that the teams decide to drop or try to drop work against the UK as it is expected because UK is the leader. But this strategy can also come back to haunt them because this will always and might always cause some casual victims here, some friendly fire, so we'll see.
we will have to see. But the GC is not settled here, and the GC does have the biggest point totals, and so I
Yeah,
think this stage
and it's
is
so
still up for
close. Everyone
grabs.
can still get it, actually.
Yeah, I think looking at this stage profile, this has to go to the A's, right? This is not going to be going towards the
Well,
punchers, or it could go to the 78 mountains in the breakaway, but This has to be a GC for the A's of a couple minutes if anyone plays this aggressively at all. And in that scenario, this has to go to
And I'm starting to think that
the
there
sprint.
isn't even much alternative to it because the main fight, all the guys in the fight right now for SAGC are indeed the 82 mountain riders. They don't have much choice if they want, obviously, to try things from distance, to try high rhythms, to try and drop people or attack people. It might be that just by itself, the fact that they need to try something will make it even more easy for the 82s to take this.
Yeah.
In the meantime, let's see if EMEA has some provisional standings. EMEA was reminding me earlier that we had a peak of 16 spectators. Uh, we've done better numbers before in the past for some world championships, but we still welcome everyone that was watching for a peak of 16 viewers. Thank you to all. It's these moments where everything is out for grabs, and then where we want to see some good cycling, some good PCM, and of course, lots of entertainment. It's for these moments that we all live.
Indeed here.
All right, final stage. Trying still to see if we have some
Ladies and
mates on the
gentlemen,
GC,
welcome. A day in the mountains, where the team leaders and the
but
climbers should
let me
show
quickly
what they're
check what I
made of.
already
For
had
the
before.
others,
That might
it's
also
going
be
to be a day
helpful.
of hard labor in order to reach the finishing line.
Trying
And
to understand who was where.
there we go with the front of the stage. As they get started, do you want to go over the official point totals after 3 stages? PCM UK with the 30 points, Village with 10 points, La Farmer with 7, and the P Laxers with 6. So still very close. All the medals up for grabs. As it does look like PCM UK is the leaders and the most likely to finish in gold. I still think that all 3 medals could be given out
I
here,
still
depending
think
on the
that I
incline.
mean
Uh,
I can understand some viewers and some players and some spectators that are also commentating on Discord saying congratulations, but it's not taken. It's not even close to being taken because this last stage is one of those that has the potential to change everything that seemed certain. Because here the gaps are so small. Sorry, it's 10-6-4. So 4 seconds for the second, 6 for the third, 10 seconds for the fourth. A fourth place, for example, in the final GC for UK is still possible, could happen, and it could lead to a whole different winner, right, Sean?
Absolutely, and all of those seconds were only the points for finishing this, or the seconds for finishing stage 2 in that order. So those are just bonus seconds that could all be given reconnected all the same throughout the
Easily, even.
finish if they
Yeah.
come together. This is all up for grabs, and all of these folks are strong enough A-team riders to make the difference. And as much as I don't think it's a possibility, there is a possibility for Team B to still make the difference here if the break is given too big of a gap. I don't think it will be. I think PCM UK and the Laxers will pace very hard if they see the BGC riders get in front, but there is always the possibility.
And
Barnett and
that's one
T2
of the
could
biggest
get out there.
situations. That's one of the biggest situations there that even then seems to favor the 82s because it's a very divided situation. Two guys have chances with the B team, two not so much. One of them is the yellow jersey, even. It's PCM UK, the other are the Luxors. So even then, the odds are looking good for the 82s to finish this.
Yes, indeed. Here, as we see that we are on the first climb of the day, it is the Colle Cipollao.
Call it Cipollano.
Um,
Cipollaio, sorry.
yeah,
Yeah.
struggling here as we now have the tour reaching the lands of Italy, and it is Tuanu trying to push ahead so that La Pera can get the intermediate sprint. Not the intermediate sprint. Well, most likely the intermediate sprint and the KOM points here, and is quickly followed by riders of Ibra, not of Joe Whiteley.
Surprising. Ibra might actually be trying just to steal some points with a quick response so that then Cummings has a chance to join or attack later.
Absolutely. But I know those points are not too important on the top of this climb, but 5 points would help cover the gap substantially. If he's going to do that, I expect to see a big sprint from both Cavendish and from Thomas for Ibra. But we see riders of the Laxers also connecting there as well with 2Ks to go
There's
on
more
this.
people. There's a group of 9 riders behind him now. E2. I see Snake, I see someone from the Luxers, and I see Bernard, which is the B team for the farmers, and only one team for UK, two for Luxers, two for the farmers, one maybe for Village only as well.
Exactly. And again, they cannot let those B teams get out in front. There goes Cavendish against Twanu. Oh, what a
Laporte maybe,
I
or was
won't
it
use the B word.
La Pera?
But Lapera does get to the front for that second category climb. Um
We will be reviewing that footage. Let me go to the Twitch to see if EMEA has a replay, but we will have the stream later to review. I'm not sure if EMEA has a replay or not. If he does, I'll be waiting to see. If not, we'll see later. Just because you mentioned it, because I was trying to change screen at that point. I just saw a little bit, but we shall see. Too late, says EMEA. Okay, we'll see. You have what you see. Shoot, shoot. That's what we want to see.
is fine. We see all the groups here together here as we go to this intermediate sprint.
Yes, I
Again,
know, I know. No, I didn't even
as
know this because I wasn't. I didn't have the conversation open, and I was seeing push-up notifications. All right, so the virtual standings after 3 stages, including virtual KOM. Wait, GC 50 points. What? Are you drunk, man? What the fuck is this shit? This can't be right.
it looks like EMEA has done the provisional
Okay,
standing if the
okay.
tour ended
Provisional
after
standings.
stage 3. But let's wait until after the intermediate sprint point to review those as we
Okay,
see
shoot, Sean.
Lapera and Twanu pacing towards this intermediate sprint.
Ah, okay, okay, man. I completely uh had to look away for a bit. Intermediate sprint is still not done yet, so let's go.
We go 3 kilometers to go. Basso pacing with Twanu also trying to get Lapera the points, and Cavendish now starting to attack for Ibra.
Oh, a little bit
Getting
of
some
whiplash there. It's gonna be four. I can't see what that view,
Cocard, I
man.
think. Cocard followed
Copa,
on
I
by
think
Fools
so,
and
but
someone else, but yeah, lots and lots of turns before that sprint point
and
should not
give
make a
us
difference.
some less zoom, and actually, that should be very helpful. Sean, look at who won there, because I'm gonna
It was
see the GC.
Rodriguez, Fools, and then Cocard. Not who I thought passed the line first, but the PCM gods are who they are, and they make the
We
decisions.
have virtual standings as we speak. If this was to end now, PCM UK would be your champion of the world. They currently have virtually 110 points with virtual KOMs and green. Village du Map is second with 43 points. La Farmer team is third, 26, and the Lockstars are in the mud with 24 points. But again, there's still a full GC to add to this, and the secondaries can still change, and there can still be uh, 10 more points, I think, to grab in stage four for the winner. So a lot of things can still change, and the gaps in GC are so small that anything can happen.
Well, especially because I think the winner of this stage will be the GC winner. I don't
Indeed.
think there's any chance it goes any other direction than that. And so in that case, this stage is basically worth 60 points.
San
Um,
Pellegrino Inaute is already underway, 15.7 kilometers at 8.1% average at 1,631 meters of altitude. Steep climb there. Not fully, not always, not consistently. There's a green spot there, some yellow spots there, but there's a lot of steepness there.
yeah, for a stage that has or for a climb that has some yellow and green sections to be still 8.1% average gradient, it's a steep climb, and we see Ghosty matching
Yes.
T2 here as they pace Ghosty knows that really he should be pacing the peloton. The B riders of Farmer and Village cannot get away if Laxers and PCM UK want the GC results. And that is
Former
Ibra.
champion of the world, the veteran Ghostman, trying, as you said, to catch up. There was also it was Ivar there. So let's see who goes. Ivar now.
And Barna as well with Snake. I'm gonna guess that's Snake
I believe it is
there.
Snake, but the male must have the hearing of a
It has to
95
be.
year
It has
old
to be
man.
Snake with T2 out in front. We know that that's not Leo Philandry
Ah,
pacing
so
in
it's
the
Snake.
back, so that must be Snake.
Excuse me. I'm choking here in my water.
And Basso is there. That is important for Laxers to pay attention. There's Leo, and Spikeson must be holding the very, very back of the peloton.
Dangerous
A
position, though.
dangerous position with the way
This climb is
this
Great
climb
easy.
should
minds
be
think
The
alike.
done.
percentages are very high.
um, some interesting notes. I know that Joe, with the C team, and Tuanu have been the most prominent guys, doing one hell of a tour and a lot of points for their teams. On the other spectrum, I see Ivar and not sure if it's Snake that have been less relevant. They still have a lot that they can do here as helpers, but as point scorers, it's not looking so good for them. Would you agree?
I don't think so. I don't think Snake's going to make the big difference on the points. He's been a very good domestique and helped on stage 2 to get the 77 Mountain Rider of T2 to the front. So he's definitely had his impact, but I don't expect the riders of Snake to be making the difference in the points or the KOM standings here at the finish. Snake still in third in the KOM, but only on 24 points. So there's a reason he's going for these points here. Getting them could be crucial.
It's Arthur Vichot and two other riders from his C team that are now leading the charge. 1 minute, 14 seconds, followed by Ivar. Now T2 getting closer there to Ivar, knowing that he might have an opportunity here to respond. But the peloton is now going at its pace, which means that Snake has some chances to get his points.
Indeed. Snake could be guaranteeing those 3 points in the KOM here. There's no way that he's going to be able to manage to catch up to LaPera or Cummings if they're smart at all here. So
And when we
this
see Mika Landa at the front of a race, we know that we are in the fictional world of PCM.
with it only being over 100 kilometers to go, it's possible it could be the real world. But there we go with Rodriguez taking the
That's a good
points
point, actually.
over Landez for Snake. Cummings taking the next points ahead of Tuanu Zlapera. Again, Joe Whiteley is protecting those points
Good
very, very
defense
well.
from Cummings there. The Brits strike back against La Pera for farmers. And Luxers have been very, I would say silent, in lack of a better word, very absent a bit from the big decisions of this final yet. However, as I reminded everyone earlier, only 10 seconds between first and fourth. The first is PCM UK, the fourth are Luxers, so everything can literally be decided in the final meters of the stage.
Absolutely. And I think there's some KOM points on the top of that final climb as well here. If somebody is able to get away for a big attack, there's still a possibility for somebody to come second or third, maybe in the KO, probably third in the KOM. Those 3 points could make the difference for any of these riders.
A rider just launched
I
into the
see a
pit.
PCM UK going. It is Ian Stannard for Joe Whiteley trying to rejoin his two teammates, Team C. This could be definitely the break that goes, as the gap is now increasing. The GC riders in the back and an extra run from someone are now at a lower pace. So this should be the moment of the day, the break of the day. Let's see how far it goes. We have a pause.
We
Oh,
do have a
Ibra has
pause.
crashed.
Um, while you are disconnected there, can we take a look at the riders in the front?
The map.
There we go. Two from Snake, Thank you so much. There they are in the front. Now we go into E2. I think the most importantly, Roland is the most important rider in this group alongside Martinez. They
Golf
are
for
the
the
77 mountain
Ghostman.
riders for Village and
Varna, La Peratu for Joe Whiteley. So here I think everyone still has two, but there's an extra one coming from who?
no, the extra one in E2, E3 is the rider of Joe Whiteley trying to connect.
Oh no, in the
But
peloton, in the peloton, in the peloton.
oh, unclear, absolutely.
Unclear
Uh,
because now we have three more, so someone was caught up or rejoined.
and more riders of Ghosty also about to reconnect, as Ivar helps pace them with Pollitt.
Peter Sagan being one of them, Pollitt pacing them back as you said, and well, Ghostman would very much thank these riders back at the group.
No, I'm not sure what Snake's plan is here. Attacking maybe towards this intermediate sprint point. Let me take a second to see if Snake has any chance at the intermediate sprint classification, not for the win, but maybe for a middle position.
I'm
Very
confused as well.
unlikely, but he did get the points at one of the other. Well, yeah, it's possible that he could be going for fourth place in the single point
That could
for
be
Village in the
the
intermediate sprints.
that could be the case then, because every single standing will be uh, worth gold with such a close GC. Micalanda trying to set Joaquin Rodriguez free. It came a
And
point in Landa's career where he found out the hard way that he would never be set free by anyone. You were saying, Sean, in more serious issues?
I don't even know if I can keep that serious at this point. But we see them attacking towards that intermediate sprint point. I don't think either of those riders are important for the finish of the stage. Although maybe getting to the top of that first category climb is their goal. As we see the riders of Joe Whiteley attacking as well towards the intermediate sprint. So maybe they are guaranteeing those points in E2, as it looks like Landa and Rodriguez will secure the main points in the front.
Always also a consummated opportunist. Joseph Whiteley seeing that there was a small chance for an attack there, taking it, but let's see if he can capitalize on it at 2 kilometers to go for Snake. Looks good for at least a win for Snake, but let's see if Joseph Whiteley can get some points ahead of the competition as he was trying to.
Indeed. I do think Joe will still be trying to make sure he gets to the top of this first category climb in front of some of the others for the points.
I
As we see
think.
Cummings,
We're halfway through the
is
first lap.
overtaken.
Oh!
More and more to the fore.
A very interesting intermediate sprint there. Poole's taking it in front of Lapera. Joe um, apologizing maybe to himself for blocking Cummings, but Ivar getting the points there with Pools
Ivar
shouldn't be
thanking
enough.
Joe.
But as
That
the group
was
is back
the
together.
ultimate destruction on Joe's rider towards the guy behind him. Without a movement, I would have liked to see a replay to see what could have happened there. Regardless, we continue up Monte Azinada with Mikel Landa and Joaquin Rodriguez.
It looks like Ivar is claiming that he will get second place in the green in front of Soinu because of that intermediate sprint. We'll have to look at those final results to guarantee that, but those could indeed be crucial points between Leixers and Farmers. If we were looking only at the provisional, that would change them from being in the fourth place with that wooden useless medal into the third for the bronze for the Leixers.
All right, and with this, trying to understand what happened there, Joe says, I honestly didn't think you guys would go that fast, considering it was 85 kilometers to go. Not sure what that means, not sure what happened yet. Again, since we have no replay, we only have one fast moment to catch as much information with our eyes as we can, so I'm not really even sure what happened.
If I saw that correctly, we saw Joe kind of slow down his riders right at the intermediate sprint. Ivar sprinted very strongly with pools, and then Lapera was also sprinting on the inside
Oh,
and wasn't able to sneak through. So Pools did get third at that intermediate sprint, if I understand the chat
so
and the video correctly.
okay, I am now understanding as well, especially Joe's words. Given that wouldn't even be a block, Joe didn't even expect him to come. He slowed down his rider, so it's unfortunate. And this have given Ivar the second place of the green jersey. We shall see.
Yeah, I'm not confident on that math from Ivar, but
I'm not either because I thought it wasn't that close from second to third, but I'm not sure.
in the KOM, it wasn't that close, but it was closer than we thought in the sprint points. It looks like, as we see Toinu now getting out in front, trying to get those KOM points. We know that these are crucial. I'm surprised Joe has let the group out to 1 minute.
Ivar saying appeal UK and get them TQ Twanu pretending that he's joking, but we all know his real character is not of peace and love as he pretends to everyone. Sorry, you were saying serious things. Again, I completely miss out on the
I was
serious
saying
things.
nothing, but we see Snake with a big pull. Snake has done a couple of these long distance attacks in the races so far. I believe in his solo tour, Snake also was out in front alone on a mountain stage to make the difference. Is that
Emma,
correct for those who remember?
he did one amazing attack. I believe it was semifinals of I want to say inline. I might be no tour. Sorry, but I might be wrong. I think it was semifinals of the tour
In the
where he
final.
did one fantastic attack to, I believe, either clinch or almost clinch to actually clinch an epic comeback and win a GC. My question here is, what are they doing? Because they're second on GC. They still have, I'm guessing, not very important things to do in intermediate KOM, so they might be going all out for the stage.
That is Village.
Village,
I think Village is smart to be trying to get out in front with Snake. Maybe he will get forgotten, get the stage, block the second points there. I really don't know.
yeah, it's looking like they're doing an all-out move for the stage, and which would also mean with these guys ahead, they would have someone to work if Leo Falandri decided to attack, as Leo Falandri is moving
And there
now.
and there goes Basso and Leo and T2 and Swagson also in the back as well.
Leo
We
immediately responding to Swaxon, Swaxon immediately responding to Leo, Miku immediately responding to Swaxon. It's a domino effect right now.
and these are the most important battles, although we did miss the KOM at the front. Six groups, six together. It must have been Snake out in front.
Rodriguez,
That would be
Landa,
fair.
La
Yeah.
Pera, and Cummings. So 2 points lost for Cummings. I think that wouldn't be enough.
I don't think it is either. I think Cummings has now secured the jersey, assuming he doesn't lose more than the maximum at both second category climbs. Um,
We
but
shall
this
see how
is
that
where the
goes.
battle is here in GC.
This battle
This is
isn't
for
propitious for
battle.
Snake though, because 2 minutes of his gap already fallen.
No, I mean, um, it was worth an attempt, but I think Basso knows that he needs to be the one to make the difference here. If there's anyone on the Lakers who is saying this is how we win, it has to be Basso. So he must be looking forward to these climbs and finding attacks, as we see
We're into the last third of the
his
race. We'll
sprinter on the
soon
front
know
of
the
that
final
group.
outcome.
But you're right, Snake even bringing this group to the finish is not that great for him, as Snake is the one who has to work, and he's behind on GC. So
The side-to-side story of La Pera and Steve Cummings has been one of the long-lasting images of this final. They continue to be in all the battles together, and they are still together for the approach to the third to last KOM. Given there is one at the ending, if I recall correctly.
there there is, and yes, they've been the most interesting part of this final. They've been in every breakaway, fighting for every stage finish. It's been what an
Outstanding.
attacking race for both of them. As we saw both of them also succeed very, very well in the inline solo
It's it's
semifinals.
times like these that we like to leave a word of recognition to the almighty Tuanu and Joe Whiteley, giving some show for all of us to see. And we have indications here. Let me see. Side note: La Perra is virtual yellow as he has 120. Interesting.
That's true. The GC gap is not nothing. They do have to catch them with these final climbs. I think they will. I don't think anybody's willing to let those group go, especially of course the Lakers if they're on the front. But the gap is widening. Let's see what the team with the fish on their back is willing to
If
do.
I
Um,
understand correctly, this would mean that Cummings would be second, which means that UK might actually work here with the farmers for this.
A rider is taking his chance alone.
They could indeed do that. But we see attacks from lots of folks on the Laxers. Pool's now trying to get out of the front. Not sure exactly what the strategy is either, as they should, I think, be going for Basso. But
I
let's
think
see.
Ibra is going to set the pace here, or was going to set the pace, but there's another rune from Luxus there, so Ivor and the mythical Ghostman actually moving.
That is Tony Martin of Basso reconnecting to that
This
group.
climb is
I
fierce,
think that
but
means
many
a Basso
riders
attack
for
is
seconds
incoming
are
very,
barely
very
on.
shortly. If we know anything about him, he will be
And
coming
there he
with
goes.
full.
There he goes. He's
Yep.
getting to the front of the group, but Leo Falandri is marking him close by. Prime positions for a Basso attack, but will it happen? Hey man, who's that UK working in that village just two guys ahead of the peloton? Yeah. We have no idea because Emea is not here. Peloton, motherfucker.
Back to the front. It's Joe Whiteley versus
Oh,
Twanu.
KLM.
State
KLM
circle
fights.
there, and the gap is
It's
even larger.
Cummings or La Perra. Cummings or La Perra. It's going to be Steven
Cummings.
Cummings. I think Cummings secures the KLM jersey.
Exploiting this opportunity to attack. So now it's
Yes,
into
those
second.
two
Um,
It's
spots
less
are
physically
absolutely
exhausting than a
secure.
climb, but it's more
The gap
stressful,
is huge
and
there.
their riders
Colset is
must
now out
choose
in
their
front. That's the
trajectory
GC
well
leader
and
for
maintain a good position on the
the
bike.
P
Watch
Laxers
out,
and
the team
Basso.
leader is falling
This
behind.
is the attack we thought would be coming, and they are going with four together. It is Ibra
all
pacing for PCM UK back behind.
all out war has been established in this tour with the Loxers taking the first shot, first blood, and the attempt for the gold.
PCM UK should be
Uh,
trying to mark this move, bring them back, and then stop pacing here in the peloton. But it is Ivar going most likely 99 here in the descent to get as much of a gap as possible. Will they split up?
Basso controlling that gap. Now, UK naturally has to close this, but Village also has to close this. Everyone has to close this because, like we said, the gaps are so small. It's a 10-second gap from first to fourth that everyone is under pressure.
There we go. Swaxon pushing, as is Leo.
And Ibra continues to have one man there. I did not see if it was Thomas or not to try and push back against the Luxers. It's an all-out brawl, an all-out war, and the Luxers were the first ones to strike seriously in the stage. What a fairy tale story it will be for the P Luxers if they manage to upset the odds after being fourth after three stages, even though it was obviously a short gap. But they have the possibility here to try and make history. This would be their first gold medal in one of the three main road disciplines, if memory serves me.
And what a team attack here. What a great, great, great strategy from them. The gap has opened up though, so they're not getting all of the support on Colset that they need. Oh, and they lost a rider trying to support. That is
Tony
Basso,
Martin.
Tony Martin, but um, will that be what brings the gap back?
This attack is currently reflecting what we usually see from Basso in the heat of pressure, cracking down a little bit, losing a rider when he shouldn't, and Ivar is pacing like a madman. It is Ivar that is trying to lead his main captain to the front of the race, where Cummings and La Perra and I believe it's still Snake are ahead.
And Ibra is doing good work here. He needs to pay attention that this gap doesn't open up either, as it just did and is there. It is 4 riders of UK, three of UK, 4 of Village. Um,
They
Village could
need to
be in good
close.
shape.
Village might actually want to continue to help UK to not let those gaps open between their own group, because Village has as much to lose as UK have, and right now it's looking good for the Luxers and trying to see. I think actually for the Luxers period, it's the only 18 there. Not sure Remiko is trying to understand.
Well, they're all together again, as it is Ivar and Ghosty now on the attack, but with no one following. It's okay for them to get away for the rest of the teams, but not for everybody. And now it is 19 riders together with 3K to go on
Super,
the second category climb. Snake attacking again, thinking
Super
maybe the
Snake
stage is up for
again.
grabs. Maybe the
Super
stage is up
Snake
for grabs.
again. He's like Duracell batteries, always everlasting. He is
Riders are
again
going
trying to
over the
get a gap.
gap portion with
Fantastic
just
performance
under
from Snake.
5%. Falling
And now
behind. The
everyone
team
in the
leader is falling
peloton
behind.
looking around at each other.
And this
This
could
is
be good
still
for
a
Snake.
GC battle for
This
the ADP
hesitation,
Mountain Riders.
this everyone looking at each other, as you pointed out, and well, and as often happens, could be what they need. But Leo Falange is getting to the front of the peloton, and he ain't gonna do that just for the views.
Nope, he's now thinking about doing the same thing as Basso, maybe? Nope, just spacing on the front. It is Rodriguez going for the points. Securing, I believe, third
Leo
place in the
Falandri, Leo
KOM battle,
Falandri,
which is
Leo Falandri. He seems that he was going to accelerate, but he did not. And Alaz, I believe it's Ibra that continues to work at the front of the group.
and it's just 40 seconds.
Finish line
Everybody
is gonna close.
important
The
still
riders have
here.
just passed the 15 kilometers road sign.
Monte del Jogo is about to start in 1.7 kilometers, and there will be absolutely no tomorrows. This is it for all of them.
Is this going to come down to a mountain sprint and the GC to only bonus seconds?
It could be that very well the case, and looking at how the race was ridden for the most part, for some that might come to it. Yes, Monte del Jogo is underway, 12.6 kilometers at 7.8% average, and 1,472 meters of altitude. And let's see. I think it's now the Ghost Man trying to go with Gal.
Is Ghosty trying to go with Gal? Not a good GC move. If I'm Ibra here, I also try to get off the front of the peloton. Taking away the bonus seconds at the front is actually the best thing that some of these riders could
Leo
do. Not
Falandri,
for Ghosty though.
Leo Falandri is still itchy, always positioning at the front. And now Joseph Whiteley might be the one that has the ungrateful position of having to sacrifice his riders to work, since Cummings has already done mostly of what he hoped to do. I doubt he has energy at this point to fight for this stage, but we shall see.
Again, any rider who can sprint there at the top could be stealing bonus seconds, which only benefits Swagson. So, is he there to pace? Is he there to fight at the top of the
The
climb?
riders have
Thomas
just posted
now
above 10%.
pushing the pace there. As Colset on the right looks for Basso like he's in good position to attack.
Leo Falandri is wanting to attack. Leo Falandri has been at the front of the peloton for a while now, and we are all waiting to see him go and try and get a gap as soon as possible. Not necessarily on a big attack from distance, but he has the opportunity here.
Well, Ghosty looks like he's not in good shape.
Much like a lot of his recent road career since his one-time World Championship win.
But there goes. Okay, there he goes. There he goes. There is Leo trying to get the gap, and Basso is following. Joe Whiteley following to try to keep the group intact for UK. But
Oh,
this
call
is the
set, call
attack.
set. Call set is alone. Leo Falandri still has a helper. Champion of the world, Leo Falandri still had a helper. Had him to launch the attack. Call set is on the move, and now PCM UK and Farmers need to respond.
Indeed, and there it
Steve
is.
Cummings taking Christopher Froome.
5K to go.
Steve Cummings taking Christopher Froome. Daniel Miko is alone, and the others at the front have to work between themselves, Pino and Cosset. but it might be too little too late because the yellow jersey is announcing himself very soon. 16 seconds, Leo Falandri pulling away with Pino on one of the steepest parts, and now it is Steve Cummings, the hero of this tour. It has been one of the most constant him and La Pera. Steve Cummings is trying to carry the pack with him.
It's not enough. Froome has to go. Froome has to go to reconnect here. They haven't seen uh, the banner yet, but it is Leo and Basso. Basso's rider looking like he's used a lot of energy. Will they be able to connect? Oh, this
Uh,
could be the stage. This
it's
could be
looking
the
good for Leo
GC. This
Falandri.
could be
It's
the
looking
gold
good.
medal.
It's looking good for Leo Falandri. Now, all we need to know, does Basso have the energy to strike at the end?
And is there
Because the
anything
gap is
left
there.
behind for Daniel Miko or for Swagson?
Yeah, I'm starting
Most
to doubt
likely
that.
no. This has to be for Leo.
This has to be the coronation for either Village or Basso. Leo Falandri accelerates. Now let's see if Costa still has it. No, Costa does not have a chance to silver. Leo Falandri might actually be securing the revival for
It
Village.
is
Leo
Leo.
Falandri wins the stage. Leo
There's
Falandri
going
is
to
the
be a
champion of
gap
the
there.
world.
There's going to be a gap there, most likely. Daniel Miko there for third. We will have to look.
It's the tragedy for PCM UK, but Leo Falandri might have actually placed second place. Village as the champions of the world. Village are the champions of the world. Great attack from Leo Falandri, destroying everyone in his wake, including Colston. Colston had no chance. Colston had no chance. He actually tries to sprint with Leo Falandri, but the experienced world champion demolishing everyone in his wake. What a win, Sean.
So now we wait for the final result.
I can absolutely almost guarantee that Village should indeed be the world champion, but we shall see.
We will have to see here. They will be most likely the GC winner here of this. Does that mean they will win the full
Yes.
world championships? I'm not so sure yet. We will have
With
to look.
PCM UK in fourth, I think it should be very good for them. If UK had been second or something, I would have doubts.
See what the gaps there are.
Shocking ending after a very well ridden race by PCM UK, but Leo Falandri showing his rank.
All of those great points from Joe Whiteley in
For nothing.
the
Yeah.
intermediate and the KOM though could make a big difference. We'll have to see.
I mean, I don't
It's gonna
remember.
be
It's what,
tight.
150 for the GC?
It's 50, 30, 15, and 5.
Oh, then that actually can make a difference. Then I think I was counting as the solo GC.
You were thinking about all those solo points.
Okay.
Let's
So it's 50, 13, 15. Intermediate sprint would be 15 a piece. I don't know, man. This is gonna be closer than we thought. Then I was thinking about the solo scale indeed. So my apologies.
lots of people typing in the document at the same time. We will
Cummings takes points. Mountain. Then it is Farmer Village. Can we see points again, Emil? Farmers, Luxers. The secondaries might actually be important. UK already had 30 points on stages, plus these 15 will be 60 points that they have. And this might make the difference. Because
it,
45 points is what Village wins here in GC. Let's see.
it's going to be a
Also close.
very, very tight battle. Looking at things being updated, it is a very, very tight battle.
Anything can still happen then. Even more so than I was still thinking at the end of the stage. With this is why because I was getting so confused when Emir showed me the virtual GC and I was like 50 points for GC. He must be drunk, but now it's the team scale and he was correct. And I was drunk as always. I am waiting to see. We do not know who wins what. It is PCM UK. Mighty PCM UK is the champion of the world with 76 points. Village Dumas, oh so close, 73 points. It is the Piloxers getting the bronze, luckier than they anticipated probably at the beginning of the last stage, and La Farmer team in the expected fourth place, 28 points. Sean.
I'm
Sean?
kept looking at these final results, and what
Wow.
a tight battle!
Wow.
What a tight battle!
Wow.
I mean, I think this showed how important those intermediate sprints and the KOM battles were. I thought that if PCM UK had ended in the final GC spot in fourth instead of third, with the bonus seconds, they would have been the ones sitting in second place. What a close fight to the finish. I'm honestly in
So
shock at that final
I
stage.
believe
So
I
many
believe
things
that the
could have gone
fact
differently.
that Miko couldn't gap Swaxton was that UK was still able to get third place at the GC because they had the advantage to farmers and
Right.
still got on the same time, so they maintained their second advantage. We're going to move to interviews, Sean.
Indeed.
Hey, man, I don't know what you're doing. You're probably drunk. I clicked up to speak on the stage, and I was already entering, and you somehow removed me, but thank you. We are joined by our colleagues Sean and Emma as always. And Sean, we were last words because this was just crazy.
I'm in shock. What a good fighting team tour final. I think this tour was the tour of the breakaway for Team C. I thought it would be just the Team A riders making the big difference, but this was the tour of Team C.
And there are already people talking about the possibility of appeals. I do not know as well what Emea is it your thing. That's clearly not a 4-6 or mouse movement of any kind. Everyone took those blocks off stage. I agree, but we shall see. People can rightfully appeal if they so choose to. And before myself and Sean move to start interviewing, in one last time, it is time to remind everyone congratulations, PCM UK, you are the champions of the world tour team.
And,
We are
fantastic
waiting
race
for.
from the remaining teams as well.
Wow,
That
that
was
was
great to see.
one of the most beautiful attacks we've seen in Team Tour this year. Leo Falandri demolishing everyone in his wake. It was not meant to be. It was not enough. Basso couldn't even keep up. Such was the power and the technicality of the attack made by Leo, taking advantage as well as his helper. I'm not going to recover anything in that. I actually need them to come here. I cannot be messaging. I am on one single screen for the love of God. Okay, we have Joseph Whiteley here. We will not hear him yet. We want to leave Champions of the World for last if possible, as it's been our norm for the most part. You're not gonna get a first question yet. We're waiting to see if Farmers, Loxers, and Village appear. But if not, we will indeed move to interviews because I don't see anyone else coming, and they'll probably join later. So we will start with Joe Whiteley, and the first question will be from EMEA. Welcome, Joe Whiteley. You're the champion of the world, my friend, as well as your teammates. First question from EMEA. Can we say karma is a bitch?
I don't
Joe?
comment. I don't comment on such things.
Uh, Joe, my first question for you, there was already talks of appeals over a possible block. Do you want to talk about the situation?
Yeah, I already won the green jersey. I had 3 riders who could have got not first, second, and third because Snake already attacked, but I could have cleaned that up. But there's no point me sprinting with 3 riders for something I've already won. So I was just chilling at 85. They sprinted and yeah, that's what happens. So,
Joe?
yeah, you heard
I
what I
stopped.
said? Oh,
Okay, yes, I
I
did.
thought my mic.
I was
No, I thought
wondering.
my mic cut out.
I was wondering, would you agree that you exercising your right to not sprint for something, given there was not even mouse movement, could not be considered a block? I just want to try and understand your position on this.
Well, I mean, unless I'm human calculator for PCM. I wouldn't have even known the situation anyway. So it didn't really concern me, which is why I wasn't sprinting.
Joe, were you guys playing with a chip on your shoulder after all the controversy of a very debatable DQ, then team players not showing up, USSR being informed so late after EMEA noticed the situation? Were you guys playing with a chip on your shoulder to try and prove yourselves you should have been there from the first place?
No, I don't think any of us have a chip on our shoulders. To be fair, we just knew we'd go in, do our best, maybe try and medal. But I think we were not naive. We knew what the situation would be between Laxers and Village, and to be fair, after stage one, I think we were already favourites to take the gold, even after stage one. So
I'm going to assume no recons were made. So how did it come to be three wins in the four stages, the dominance in the secondary jerseys? How did things go? How did the story was written that way? Is probably the question that has to be made here.
I just think collectively as a team, we just made the right decisions, and we individually outplayed our opponents on the first three stages, in my opinion, anyway. A little bit of luck here and there, sure thing, but yeah, sometimes you don't need to recon stuff. But I mean, well, maybe we did recon a few things in the tiny period we had before it was announced. So.
Hey man, more power to you if you had the time for that because it wasn't much. But we have another question here from Emil. Let me see. Perhaps you shouldn't just say question for Joe and only type the rest 10 minutes later, Emil. Okay, wait. He actually sent it, and I was changing the page. Question for Joe: do you think other played bad to cooperate with C Team as you were better clearly than them?
I mean, I was surprised that certain teams, I won't name who, were willing to do that. I mean, I wouldn't call it was gifted, but I was surprised they were that cooperative with the situation. But to be fair, I think a couple of them were headless chickens throughout the full night anyway. So that's what happens when you get involved in an overall battle. I guess you get a bit of clouded vision, but well.
And my question to you is, this skill for team specifically made things so close and so interesting that I almost have to ask: should we not want something more similar like this for solo?
What do you mean? Sorry.
I'm saying this scale for the classification of the teams for the points for the tour, it made things so close that if it had been different, if it had been the solo scale of 150 for the winner and so on, things would have been different. Is this a scale you would like to see on a similar note on solo from now on?
Absolutely not. I think the reason why it was close was because the scale was bad. I mean, you can believe whatever you want. I don't believe that winning the GC in the final kilometer on stage 4 and then us finishing third means you get the right to not get any stage results. I mean, Village Damadi basically turned up on stage 4. There's no way you should win all three stages, clean up the KOM, clean up the green jersey. Your opponent doesn't score in basically any of those, and then turns up on stage 4, wins the stage, and wins the GC. I don't think you should be that close to the winner.
Indeed, that was one of the things we actually.
Especially not in this type of gameplay where going for KOM, going for green jersey is quite punishing for your bars. I don't think it should be a case. Because you just get a random person who rats and then wins. I'm not saying that's what Leo did because Leo outplayed everybody on stage 4. But you asked me about solo, and that's what happens in solo. So
Well, and I have to ask you here, actually, given that this could almost have been a team that dominated the entire tour, not having enough advantage to represent that. Would you say that the team scale also needs to be looked at for the future?
I was surprised. I like to be fair when I did some simulations of it, I thought the team scale was actually going to be quite all right. But I think tonight, if anything, shows how can you go into stage 4, winning all stages, winning both jerseys, not finishing last in GC, and still nearly losing the medal? Like, that's crazy to me, anyway. Especially, like I said, it's not crazy to nearly lose because we didn't win the GC and we didn't even finish second. But in the way this game works, where ratting is so important and so rewarding compared to actually attacking, I think it's quite surprising, really, that the scale is so in favour of the GC. I mean, I know it's Tor, and I know people will say, well, Tor's about playing for the GC.
You
In
know,
a
I'm
game
the
like,
biggest proponent. You know, I'm the biggest proponent of a tour that favors GC, but can it be that too much might be too much as well?
well, like I said, in the way this game works, you can be last in GC going into the last stage. You've got no stage wins, you've got no jerseys, you've got nothing. You then win the last stage because you were let go. I'm not saying that's what happened here because, like I said, Leo deserved to win. But in
Leo did an
solo,
incredible attack.
yeah,
Let's point that out.
yeah, absolutely. But I'm talking about solo here because that's what the game is. And in
Yeah, yeah.
solo, you can get a random person who gets a free ride away, wins the stage, wins the GC. He should not be anywhere near the gold medal just because he wins the GC on the last stage. If you want to win Tour, you've got to be competitive over at least 2 or 3 of the stage. You can't just be competitive on one stage. And that wasn't even the Queen stage. The Queen stage was actually stage 2. So
All right, Joe. With this win, a win that no one was already expecting because I think no one, not even you guys, were for the best part of the day, the biggest part of the day, not even aware that you guys were going to compete. This might actually give you some points in the overall, but given some other eliminations, overall is probably a thought of the past. Would that be correct?
you asked me this before the World Championships, and I gave the same answer even then. Before we were actually eliminated, I don't really care about the overall. I know people think we do, but
Oh, but
realistically,
people clearly don't know us.
yeah, but given the context of our team, obviously we have our objectives, and I think we overperformed this year. I'm quite happy to admit that.
Yeah, we got rid of a shitty player, but we still need more than that to
Guys,
even.
I'm
I
still
want to
here,
ask
Ibra.
Eva. No, no,
I'm
I want to
talking
ask
for
Eva.
big
No,
dog.
no, 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 no.
No,
I
no.
know that. I know that he's being a rude guy talking about shitty players, but I want to ask him, Eva. You guys got rid of the worst of all players that the UK team has ever seen in their long, noble history. The biggest cunt of the world, the biggest of all dogs, and yet you somehow cannot even lace his shoes. What's the feeling?
The feeling is good. No big deal.
Joe, this is the second gold medal. You guys still have two more. The plan, like you were gonna say, talking about the overalls and not caring about it. Possibly at least one more gold medal is still one of your dreams as a team. Joe.
Oh, sorry, I completely lagged out then.
Oh,
He died.
did you hear the question?
No, I just heard the end of it when you said my name.
I was asking if the goal, because you were talking about how the team itself, the way we play, the players we have, the culture that we've developed, it was really never about overalls. Given with this win, it's already 2 goals. Is it still fair to say that you guys being with a third one in classics?
I mean, we'll go for it. I don't know if us winning Tar now changes things for classics. But
Maybe less
classics are
pressure.
classics. I don't think we can have any expectations. A medal is always kind of like what we want because in a 4 team lobby to get a top 3, it's not the most impossible thing to do in the world. So I would expect us to at least try get a medal. If it's a silver or gold, I mean, to be fair, silver and bronze don't make. I don't really care if it's silver. I think the only
You are
difference is
missing your classics star player. Is that going to be a problem?
I'm here.
it could be, but apparently Ibra says he's here, so
Ibra sucks. I want the world to know that. But we're gonna talk with Ibra. Joe, thanks for being here, and I'm pretty sure we'll still be seeing you around because you still have a couple of solo and team finals to do.
yeah.
Ibra, you suck. Why do you suck so much?
I
Let's
don't
talk.
know. I stayed too much talking to you, so at some point
All
it's
right.
contagious. Yeah.
Some people have complained that they have caught up with that disease. Indeed, Ibra, you are the champion of the world team tour along with the rest of PCM UK. What's the feeling, man? Congratulations,
Uh,
first of all.
Thank you. The feeling is really good. I think of all the team events that I wanted to win the most is tour because I had uh, memories from last year when we won the other two, but tour we did the wrong decisions, and yeah, it was like the only bad point of the last World Cup. But yeah, good that now. Uh, we got this gold medal, but then everything that is coming is a bonus. And yeah, we will try to finish it in a good way. Maybe with gold tomorrow. Hopefully.
Ibra, important question for you. Ibra, are you here?
Yes.
Ah, Ibra, important question for you. What were you doing tonight? Playing Tetris? I don't remember seeing you much.
I was tryharding my keys when I heard that I play tours. So so I don't know. I switched from
Ibra,
ITT.
no, a serious question. Whatever happens, it's already two gold medals this year. We had one last player, as much as we like to, even myself, as much as I like to joke around that, it was still a regular player, was in on the team. Kanik is probably the best PCM player of all time in team. Uh, is it a successful World Championship, in your opinion, for the team? Two gold medals, another final, and maybe one on track. Who knows?
I would say it's
A
a
final, not a
decent.
medal, on track.
Yeah, I think it's a decent World Cup. But if you want to say it's good, you have to beat next year. I think what will make it better than last year is even a medal tomorrow. It will match to gold and the silver of ITT of last year because here we got gold in TTT. But then if we just get a medal tomorrow, I think I would say that it's a very very successful World Cup, and then I will turn to my attention to solos. When I say solos, it's just ITT and TTT, of course. Talking like I'm
I'm
playing all
glad you
over.
are not the team captain for the poor lads with those unrealistic expectations, but I think it was a fairly good World Cup. But Ibra, this was the year in which you wanted to conquer the world in solo. It didn't happen. Why?
Yeah.
And are you already counting the days to demolish everyone next year? Because I think you do indeed have the ability to be one of the world's top players.
Well, I think my main goal is still achievable without going in details. Uh, I I had a main goal for solos, and I'm still in it. So yeah,
I'm gonna remind you that I'm gonna remind you. No, I'm gonna remind myself because I almost forgot to mention that was
that you
indeed
are the
your main
best
goal.
player of TTT. I thought you were gonna
No,
say you're a
no,
top 10 player. Yeah, okay,
no. I was
sure.
not gonna say any. I was not gonna say any of that. This is a serious interview. We don't do stupid jokes like that. Who the fuck cares about what the big dog is when he's not even competing, bro? Come on, be real, man. Be
Finally,
serious.
yeah, yeah,
Be serious, man. Come on. I was gonna wait, wait a minute. I was gonna ask you, since this was your main goal, which one has priority for you, ITT or TTT in the solo
yeah.
competition?
100% ITT. I think everyone knows it's
Are you
ITT.
trying to erase Miko from history?
I need the gold. That's what I have to
Uh,
say.
all right. Congratulations, my friend, on another gold medal and another success for you. And I hope to be there with you
Thank you.
next year. All right. Before we hear the team leader that we're all aching to hear, which is Swax and the Swagster, ladies and gentlemen, please rise to celebrate today's champions of the world, PCM UK. God save the king. God save the king indeed. Congratulations to PCM UK because they are the world champions today. Swags on swags, swagster, talk to us, my friend.
Um,
Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
This was a final that me personally, as always, I'm always invested in tour because it's my favorite discipline, and those that know me know it. Uh, you were the leader today. You had that responsibility. There was all the situation that I've talked about. Joe has said for him personally that he doesn't think he knows he wasn't playing with a chip on his shoulder. He doesn't think the rest of the team was. What's your thoughts on that?
We really weren't. It was just a case of we play, we see what happens. We just nailed it. We just absolutely nailed it in the end with 3 stage wins. I feel unfortunate in the GC, but yeah, we were fine. We were totally fine. Everything just came out perfect. But
In that last stage, did you see your life going backwards when Leo Falandri did what was an incredible and outstanding attack, demolishing even Basso in his wake, and it seemed that things were going to turn sour to you guys in those final kilometers? What was going through your head at that point?
what was going through my head, don't come last and don't get gapped. Actually, no, coming last in that stage wasn't an issue. Getting gapped was an issue.
What happened for you not to be there with Leo? I mean, I would have also liked to ask this to other guys from other teams, but they weren't here. What happened? What's the story?
I'm convinced my green bar was lower, like starting green bar on stage 4, because I had to make sure to plug gaps on stage 3. So it was
So
a
it
case
was.
I think I was having to, because of that, I think my stage 4 starting point was a bit low. It was a bit lower than the others, not by much, and I don't think they really took advantage of it to get a big time gap, but it was enough. Mm.
You actually got and by you I mean you and obviously the entire PCM UK guys. You guys actually got the gold medal here. It's the second one. Same question I asked to Joe. Given that you already have two here, does this relieve pressure for classics, or is it still a must in your opinion?
We just go, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't. It's a case of we just go out there in classics, try and win it, and hopefully we will win that instead as well. Mm.
And
That's all we have.
solo finals. Do you still have some solo competitions to finish?
I'll barely any, but it's like got points race, which yeah,
Me too.
there's no
That's
That's
the
it.
dream. That's the dream.
no point me no point doing anything regarding that because it could end up
Oh,
being.
Saxon, what happened to you? You used to be in finals. You used to be cool, man.
I mean, I prefer not to speak about that. I think everyone knows my opinion on it.
If you speak, you're in big trouble, right? I have no
I
idea.
mean, I think I have a mob on me if I say anything that's very
All right.
controversial, and I'd rather not see anything right now.
It's always a pleasure to see Chris Froome winning stuff because that's a throwback to the yesteryear where he was actually still relevant and not washed as fuck. So congratulations, Swaxon. You actually are champion of the world with PCM UK as well, and I really hope to see you at your finest in the upcoming competitions for next season. Hope to see you there with all of the other riders.
We'll see. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, Swags. And now we are going to remind everyone of the current Team GC after tour. So Village du Mart is leading now. I think Luxors were leaders after a previous event, but Village takes the lead back. It isn't that far. There's a close gap here. It's 1521 points for Village. Pure Luxors have 1490, so that's 1521 to 1490. That's 31 points. That's nothing. Mighty PCM UK rises to third place. That it will be extremely hard to keep, and like they said, they're not even focused on that. But they are third with 1,290 points. Then comes Mighty as well, Portugal 1242. Then Netherlands plus 1023, 899 for La Farmer team. Seventh for Skype, 899. Then Belgium 8449. USSR one is ninth with 391 points, and everyone else is further below and already closed competition in both track and road. Team Gruppetto Occidental, just a heads up to them, a shout out to them, 17th place and last with 11 points. So tomorrow, we
Team
have Classics
Classics.
Final. Yes, indeed, as some of you had already mentioned, we have Team Classics Final. And after that, let me quickly check the calendars just because team finals are coming to an end soon, and I want to remind everyone of what is still to go. But my Discord is just giving me a fuck you for some reason. Okay, there we go. Calendar. There we go. So tomorrow, as I had already said, and Joe as well, is Classics Team Classics final. Then we have fuck's sake, stop talking, man. I want to read. Thank you. Tuesday we have Omnium final and the Karen knockout stages that will include the final to whoever qualifies. And then Wednesday, May 29th, inline final. It is the team main event. It is the curtain call. It is the end of the World Championships for team events. And from the following days, 30th of May to June 5th, it will be all the solo finals still left. Emma is buggering me about something else. Let me see. Ah, yes, let's present the Team Classics final. Fast preview. The group we have for the group of finalists we have is Village du Mar, Mighty PCM UK, the Amazing Team Netherlands Plus, and the Almighty P Luxers. And we have three stages. 178.7 kilometers for the first one, with what I think should be gravel, meaning light cobbles, not sure. What?
No, he's talking to his
Ah,
phone.
okay. Then second stage, the flat one, Savola Sanremo 190.0. Someone mute him, please, because I can hear myself.
I'll have.
Thank you.
Yeah.
190.0. Shut up, Primera. 190.0 kilometers. And then Mariquita La Pintada, hill stage, 238.3 kilometers. That ends on a always treasures flat sprint after some ups and downs. So very hilly. We're gonna have, as I said, Village, PCM UK, Team Netherlands, and P Luxers. That is for tomorrow, and for today, we already did all our celebrations. Sean, you still here with us? Is Sean dead?
Somehow, yes, I am.
Somehow. Sean, last words about this tour. What did you think? Final thoughts?
I was very, very surprised how this tour went out, but again, this was the tour of Team C, and that went to Joe Whiteley and PCM UK. So, what a fantastic race today! Lovely from start to finish.
Sean, I want to thank you so much again for being here. It's always great to comment with you, man.
Happy to be here.
Sean is one of those commentators that I actually like to work with. He always knows when to take advantage of the silences that I most of the time give him to continue. So, thank you, Sean. Top notch work. I also want to thank EMEA, the 90th, successor of EMEA, the 89th, predecessor of EMEA, the 91st, also succeeded EMEA, the 91st, the first. So, that's a long story. If you don't know, you don't know. Guys, these were the championships of the world, and tonight's world champions were Mighty PCM UK. Thank you all for being here. I am the biggest of all dogs. The PCM UK 24 World Championships are presented by IMA, hosted by PCM UK, sponsored by Cyanide and Alcohol. Join us tomorrow for the all-out brawl and carnage that will be Team Classics final. And I'll see you all then. I am the biggest of all dogs. Join us tomorrow again, Team Classics. Last reminder, have a good night all.